Good late afternoon, everybody. Welcome back here to Weather on the Go. Just before we get started here this afternoon and this evening, can you guys hear me in the live stream? I was having some audio issues here earlier on today, so just kind of want to make sure everybody can hear me here in the live stream. So if you can hear me, press the number one on the chat down below. So if you guys can hear me, press number one, everybody in the chat, and then we'll get going here this afternoon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back again. If you guys can hear me, everybody here in the live stream joining me, press the number one and I will get going here just to make sure. Okay, so yeah, everybody can hear me. All right, great. Thank you guys for joining me here this afternoon for blizzard coverage. We got a blizzard on the way, and this is going to be one of the more major storm systems here that we are talking about going through this weekend. And the scope of this system is probably one of the biggest winter storms or even storm systems that we have seen across the United States and Canada probably this year, to be quite honest with you here. And just to show you that reason why I think that, look at all the colors here. We are lit up like a Christmas tree across the United States with all the alerts here. I know we're getting close to Christmas time frame. Everybody's getting excited here for the snowfall and the cold air. And again, guys, this system is not here the greatest of timing for impacts, but again, we're going to keep you ahead of the storm here on this channel, and that is what we're going to do. So let's dive into the alerts here. Again, you see all these colors. We're going to dive into what all these colors mean here real quick. Across the Intermountain West, we got a lot of these pinks and oranges and stuff like that across portions of Utah, Idaho, getting across Wyoming there into Colorado. Those are winter storm warnings in the pink shaded colors. And then you can see kind of this darker tan area. That is actually high wind warnings across Utah, getting into southeastern Wyoming and then parts of Colorado there. And those higher elevations, that's where we could be expecting those winds over 60 miles per hour with very strong northwesterly winds there, pulling down all of that cold air from Canada across those areas. Farther off to the east, we got these purple shaded areas across South Dakota, North Dakota, getting across much of the Central Plains, including Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, down through Kansas, and northeastern Oklahoma, including the Tulsa area. That is actually winter weather advisories where we're gearing up for some moderate snowfall accumulations in those areas. Even some blizzard warnings in the oranges covering extreme southeastern Montana, southwestern North Dakota, and central South Dakota here. That's where we're seeing those blizzard warnings. A larger batch of blizzard warnings covering most of the state of Iowa. This includes Des Moines, Dubuque, Iowa, getting all the way back here across portions of Fort Dodge, and then getting up into Rochester, Minnesota, and much of south central Minnesota there toward the Twin Cities. Those are blizzard warnings where we're gearing up for a major blizzard across these areas in the coming days. And then a large swath of pink shaded colors covering most of Illinois, including Chicago, Rockford, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, getting down towards Springfield there, the capital, and cross portions like Joplin, Missouri, Kirksville, Missouri. I'm just naming a few, cities so you guys can get a better handle on where these warnings are. Indianapolis, getting up towards Detroit here, Madison, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and then again up there toward Duluth, Minnesota. Those are all winter storm warnings. And again, I did forget to mention Kansas City is in that as well. So winter storm warnings across those areas. And then again, another batch of blizzard warnings across the western side of Michigan and getting into far northern portions of Indiana toward the Gary, Indiana area, Grand Rapids, and then up there towards just to the west of Lansing, we have those blizzard warnings into western Michigan. Again, gearing up for some very strong winds and some whiteout conditions. And then across the Appalachian chain here, we got some winter weather advisories, a couple winter storm warnings there. And then on up into Maine, those are actually high wind watches that we're here seeing across much of New England with some very strong winds. And then the green shaded areas across downstate New York into New Jersey and portions there of the mid-Atlantic. Those are actually flood alerts here for those flood watches out there. So yes, we got a lot of alerts to talk about with this system. And I forgot to mention Texas, guys. So many alerts here today. We got these, gray shaded areas. These are basically just wind advisories across western Oklahoma into the northwest side of Texas, across South Texas, and then we got freeze warnings across central and southwestern Texas here as well. So that just kind of sums up what all these alerts mean. I hope you guys took away a lot of that. If I called out your state or called out your city, You took away from what I said there. Again, the pink shaded colors, those are winter storm warnings. The orange shaded colors are blizzard warnings. And then the purple shaded colors are winter weather advisories. And then again, all those other colors on there just mean either wind or freeze warnings on there as well. So moving on, let's kind of go over the overview of why this storm is happening. We got a deep trough digging in across the north central Rockies this afternoon and is actually producing some snowfall across portions of Montana, getting into the Dakotas and Wyoming here as we speak. That will be pressing its way farther south and east here, bringing down this dam of very cold air from Canada into the southern United States as we go into the day today. And really, as we get into the day tomorrow on Thursday, December 22nd, we really start to see the system amplify a little bit further with that negatively tilted trough digging in across the Midwest and portions of the Missouri Valley. And again, we're going to be pulling this Arctic front all the way south toward the Red River here in Texas, across the Dixie Alley region and the Tennessee Valley. So you're going to see that chill and feel that chill out there as we get into the day on Thursday. And then this system really bombs out here with bombogenesis, a very rapid strengthening of the low pressure system as we get across New England, the Ohio Valley, and the Great Lakes going into the day on Friday, the 23rd of this month. So looking at the jet stream here, this is important because this is going to pull down all the cold air. We got a negatively tilted trough here. Very powerful mid-level jet here in the 500 millibar layer, rounding the base of this trough around 120 knots. And this is pretty rare for this time of year. We have that strong of a mid-level jet here with a system like this. So that will be something to keep an eye on. Again, this is going to pull down all that cold air with that polar jet. And then we have that subtropical jet phasing together. And that's what we have with this system here, the two systems phasing together. And that's why we have such a dynamic storm system going into the day here today and then into the coming days ahead. So looking at this cold air, it's going to be pulling down all that cold air. Like I mentioned, that polar jet is going to be pulling down all this cold air from Canada into the United States and the eastern 2/3 of the United States, going really through the rest of December. Is going to be extremely cold, guys. And this is not only going to stop across the Midwest or the Ohio Valley, this is going to travel all the way down to Florida, the Gulf Coast, Texas, and even northern Mexico as well. So this is going to cover much of the lower 48, especially east of the Rockies, as we get through this upcoming Christmas holiday weekend. So that is going to be something to keep an eye on. Again, bundle up out there if you do go outside. We'll talk more about this cold weather here in just a moment, but I do want to show you what the models are showing, at least the NAM model for the snowfall potential. I do think the NAM model this afternoon has really honed in on a good scenario of what I think will play out here with the snowfall. So let's break this down for you guys. We got that very strong Arctic front. You can see with the tight isobars getting all the way down here into northern Texas, portions of Oklahoma and the Missouri Valley. Later on this afternoon, getting into the evening hours, and then Thursday morning, that'll be around the midnight time frame here at 12Z. We're going to be talking about some very strong winds and some snow squall type of events here across portions of northern Oklahoma, Kansas, getting through northern Missouri, Iowa, all the way up here into Wisconsin. Some heavier snows can be found across these areas. And again, it'll be kind of like a scenario, if you guys remember, if you guys are up north in the Midwest, of snow squalls, where you have those gusty winds and those very strong bursts of snowfall here, 1 inch to 2 inches per hour across these areas. That will be expected Thursday morning, and then we'll fill in a little bit more of the snowfall across portions of the Great Lakes here from eastern Wisconsin through much of Michigan, Ontario, all the way south through Indiana, Illinois, through the Chicagoland area and Indianapolis, all the way south perhaps to Memphis and Little Rock, with that snowfall going into the day on Thursday and into the afternoon. And this front is going to be wreaking lots of havoc all the way south to Houston, Corpus Christi, Brownsville, Texas. This front will make it on Thursday. And then again, going into the day on Friday, this system will really deepen to a 981 millibar low with blizzard conditions, a full-blown blizzard on the backside of this system here with those very tight isobars. Winds will be screaming in out of the northwest between 20 and 30, if not even 35 miles per hour sustained at the surface. And then you'll have those wind gusts well higher than that, over 50, if not 60 miles per hour right across the Great Lakes here, and they will be ripping and roaring through the day on Friday. So, and this will be in conjunction with below zero high temperatures as well. So I did want to mention that. You got the snowfall here aspect of it with the heavy snow, you got the very strong winds, and then the hallmark of this storm is really just the cold air, guys. We have a 1056 millibar high pressure system settling in here. That's a true Arctic air mass and a true Arctic high pressure system across the north central plains going into the day on Friday, and that is definitely going to be bringing down all that cold air. Going into the day on Saturday, again, this will be moving up here into Ontario, Quebec, very heavy snowfall across those areas, Montreal, down through Toronto, and then to places here in the upper Great Lakes region. We could be seeing 1, 2, even 3 inch per hour snowfall rates through the day on Saturday, and that'll eventually lift its way slowly up into eastern Canada and out of the lower 48 as we head into Sunday here, Christmas Day itself. So let's look at those snowfall accumulations. Again, we will be talking some significant accumulations. The brighter the colors, the heavier the accumulations you will see. So let's kind of break this down for you. If you live in Nebraska, if you live in Kansas, Missouri, I think about a good 1 to 3 inches will be a good bet for you. So places like Kansas City, Jefferson City, down here to Springfield, and then over towards St. Louis, Missouri, these areas will be averaging around 1 to 3 inches of snow, getting back there toward North Platte, Grand Island, Nebraska, and getting down toward Topeka and Wichita. These areas, again, around 1 inch to 3 inches of snow can be expected here as we get into the day on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here. These are your storm totals. Getting up toward Des Moines, La Crosse, Wisconsin, back toward Des Moines, Iowa, Rochester, Minnesota. We could be around 5 to 8 inches, maybe localized higher amounts up to near 9 inches potentially with this system. So definitely be getting the snow blowers out across these areas. Much of Wisconsin, you guys are going to be seeing at least 6 inches across the entire state of Wisconsin. I'm pretty confident of at least 6 inches, especially up toward Green Bay, Madison, Wisconsin, the Dells, getting back toward Prairie du Chien here, and then heavier amounts as you get closer to Lake Superior up there into the UP of Michigan. Could be around 2 feet of snow up into the UP of Michigan there and far north woods of Wisconsin. So that will be something to keep an eye on, getting to snowblowers out there. Farther to the east across Indianapolis, getting in toward Columbus, Ohio, getting through portions of Kentucky, averaging 3 to 6 inches of snow. So if you live in central Ohio, back into portions there of Indianapolis and then portions of Kentucky, around 3 to 6 inches of snow will be a good bet for you guys. Heavier amounts, especially up to the north into portions of northern Ohio, northern Indiana, and there will be a swath through Michigan there, especially the western side of Michigan, right along the lake shoreline there of Lake Michigan, where we could be talking about up to 2-foot snowfall totals going through the height of this event, and then across portions of New England here, Pittsburgh, getting down toward Charleston, West Virginia, upstate New York, and getting up through northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, and western Maine. We'll be averaging around 4 to 8 inches worth of snow across those areas. The I-95 corridor from Boston to New York City, the New Jersey areas, and then getting in toward Washington, D.C., mainly a rain event, turning to snow late in the event with maybe a dusting of snow potentially on the backside of this storm system going through the weekend time frame. And then, of course, up here into Canada with those bright oranges and yellows up here, that's over 2-foot snowfall, guys, across much of central and western Ontario, again across upper peninsula of Michigan, and then extending over into west central Quebec as well in the provinces of Canada. We'll be talking about snowfall at least of 12 inches, but possibly even over 2 feet in some of these areas. So definitely getting the snow blowers out here across all of southeastern Canada and the upper Great Lakes going through this holiday weekend, guys. Again, take it slow on the roads out there. It's going to be a busy time to travel, and again, you want to take it slow on the roads, and again, you want to have a safe trip home and there to your events as well this weekend. Looking here at another model, again, it does paint the similar picture, again, of what I think. A little difference, it pulls that heavier snow line a little farther south, so if this model verifies, then sure, we could see 4 to 5 inches down toward Kansas City, Jefferson City, Missouri, but again, the theme is the same. We got the heavier snow to the north, the lighter snow to the south, and again, that rain snow line will be very close to the I-95 corridor, where I'm not expecting too much in the way of snow accumulations from Boston to New York City, New Jersey, or Washington, D.C., mainly just a dust adjusting to a ½ inch across those areas on the backside of this storm system. So if you guys have any questions, light up the chat down below and ask me questions, guys. I know a lot of people have been in the chat here already. I'm going to get through some of your comments here. And again, if you guys have any questions about snow accumulations for a certain area, a certain side of the state out there or anything like that, I'll be able to answer your questions here throughout the live stream. So thank you all for joining, and I'll be getting to your questions here right now. Elva says, I'm excited for next week. Yes, lots of snow out there, getting the snow blowers out. West Virginia guy, I have a feeling winter storm watches will be issued for the mid-Ohio Valley in West Virginia tonight. The GFS has the low more south. Well, the GFS has been pretty inconsistent, if I'm going to be quite honest with you, with this system. So I would lean more towards the NAM model myself. The NAM model is, again, shorter. It's a medium range model, but it is also doing a very good job, I think, of depicting these snowfall accumulations, in my opinion, across these areas. But yes, I do agree. Into West Virginia, we could be seeing at least winter storm watches, and then probably eventually, I think, more of a winter weather advisory type of event. A lot of times with these events, even though you have snow accumulations less than what you would have for a winter storm warning product, you usually have those warnings go out even though you have just 2 to 4 inches of snow, because you have all that blowing and drifting snow out there. And either way you slice it, guys, it's not going to really matter how much snow you get. 2 inches of snow is going to blow around the same as 8 inches of snow. So the hallmark of the storm, long story short, is not the snowfall accumulations. It's really not. It's the cold air and it's the strong winds that is really going to be this, the headline for this storm. And then the snow accumulations here come third, I think, with those impacts. Brendan Norris says for Central Arkansas, I'm seeing some light accumulations. You may be lucky to get an inch of snow across Little Rock. That might be pushing it. Going back to the NAM model, again, showing generally an inch or less across central portions of Arkansas, specifically around the Little Rock to Jonesboro, Arkansas area. So I'm not terribly concerned about big snow accumulations there. The heavier snow, again, will be across the Great Lakes and all of the Midwest, and then getting into portions of especially southeastern Canada as well. Jackie says, I've been seeing Ohio is going to get some snow. It seems to almost skip Indiana in some spots. Yes, it's just how it goes. The front's going to be moving through so quickly. You're still going to see some pretty strong winds and kind of a whiplash of snowfall across Indiana, Ohio, and much of Illinois. It's going to add up very quickly. It's that fluffy, dry, powdery snow. It's going to blow around very quickly. And again, if you guys know very well that, powdery snow, if you have powder in your hands and you throw the powder in the air, that's how the snowfall is going to be, flying around with all these strong winds. You got to imagine you have 1 to 2 inch per hour snow rates, and it adds up quickly on the ground, with those accumulations. You're going to be seeing, 50 to 60 miles per hour wind gusts here on top of that. That's going to be blowing around. And it doesn't matter if you get 2 inches of snow or a foot of snow, it's going to blow around the same. And you're still going to have those near whiteout conditions, if not full-on blizzard conditions with this system. So it really doesn't matter as we head into this holiday weekend. Just stay safe here on the roadways. Take it slow out there. Barbara says, how much snow for southeastern Ohio? Southeastern Ohio, looking at the NAM model here, just eyeballing it, you see those darker blues and some pinks showing up. I say 3 to 6 inches is a good bet here for southeastern Ohio. Looking at the different here model run, the RDPS, which is just kind of another shorter range weather model. Again, still the same theme, about 1 to 3 inches of snow in far southern Ohio, but southeastern Ohio, I think about 3 to 6 inches would be a very good bet for you. So hopefully that answers your question out there. Let's see here, guys. I'm trying to get all your questions again. Thank you guys so much. T-Rev says, I'm from Northeast Ohio, and I definitely agree, West Virginia. Yes, West Virginia is going to be seeing several inches of snow potentially with this. Again, this model shows about 3 to 6 inches. Going back to the NAM again, and especially along the Appalachian chain there in those higher elevations of West Virginia, we'll be talking about 3 to 6 inches at the very least. So that's a good bet there. Let's see here. Feature meteorologist Mia says, hello. Good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining. Okay. Julie says, hey, made it to another live. Well, thank you for making it. Definitely appreciate you joining. Thank you guys, all you guys, for joining here this afternoon. OJ says, how bad do you think Central Ohio will get with the wind and the snow? Again, I think 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for Central Ohio. Places like Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio, those areas will be getting around 3 to 6 inches. The wind will be pretty strong as well. I think 20 to 30 mile an hour wind gusts out of the west-northwest, and you'll be seeing here those really strong. Again, this is the wind gusts here. Looking at those wind, these are the sustained winds. Sustained winds out of the west northwest here at about 20 to 30 miles per hour, ripping and roaring across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and Ohio. There again, specifically, you're talking about Central Ohio. 3 to 6 inches of snow with 20 to 30 mile an hour sustained winds and gusts probably well over 40, 50 miles an hour. You'll be blowing that snow around pretty easily on the day on Friday. Friday will be your worst day here across Ohio, and then again, we'll see those impacts slowly ease across the Great Lakes in the Midwest, and then again the Ohio Valley going through the day on Christmas Eve there on the 24th on Saturday. Caden says winter storm warnings are in Ohio now. Yes, I do believe so. Let me go back here again. I'm going to be kind of moving back and forth across the slides, just answering some questions here. Yes, there are winter storm warnings here across especially western Ohio. Again, I haven't updated this graphic here in just a little while, but yes, I do imagine there are winter storm watches for central Ohio. So they're around the Columbus area there up towards Cincinnati. Some of those areas, those are under at least winter storm watches, if not winter storm warnings at this point. Western Oklahoma, you guys are under a wind advisory. I don't think you're under any winter alerts, though. Western Oklahoma, let's go back here to what we were talking about with the snowfall. Western Oklahoma, you're going to see probably just a dusting. If anything, you're probably just a few flurries, nothing too big of a deal there. Yeah, just a dusting of snow. We're not looking at big snow accumulations in Western Oklahoma. But definitely the strong winds. You got those wind advisories there, so you could be seeing winds over 40 to 50 miles an hour in western Oklahoma, so watch out for that. And just because you don't have snow in Oklahoma, it's going to get darn cold, guys. It's going to get very cold into Oklahoma, so here in just shortly, I will be showing you guys your temperatures going into this upcoming weekend. Things are going to get darn cold around the southern plains as we get through the day on Saturday and Sunday, especially for Christmas. So Jackie says Southwest Michigan checking in the eye of the storm, the Michigan version of a hurricane. Well, this system will probably remind you of a hurricane, except in the winter time frame, I guess, if you could want to say that. It's gonna be pretty strong. This low pressure system's really gonna tightly wind itself up. We're gonna see some extremely strong winds with this. Again, going back to the wind gust potential, it's gonna maximize itself on Friday. Friday afternoon, we're gonna have a 975 millibar low up here into the upper Great Lakes. And again, we're going to be ripping and roaring these winds out of the west-northwest across Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, Lake Erie, all these lakes up here in the Great Lakes region, and then through portions of Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio, all of Michigan especially. Yeah, we're going to be seeing those 20 to 30 mile per hour sustained winds and winds well over 50 miles per hour at the height of this event, with the snowfall falling as well. So whiteout conditions are likely. I do expect these blizzard warnings to probably move off farther to the east in the days to come. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that these blizzard warnings that you see on the map I just showed you, here, let me go back to that. These blizzard warnings that you do see on here and through Iowa, south central Minnesota, these will be expanding. I have very high confidence of that. If you look tomorrow morning, I guarantee you that much of north central Illinois, northern portions of Indiana, and much more of Michigan and Wisconsin, and even Missouri might even have these orange shaded colors with those blizzard warnings. If not, these winter storm warnings will remain in place. So it definitely a time to watch as we get through the next couple of days here. Yes, Jackie says you're in a blizzard warning. You must be in western Michigan then, right near the lakeshore line there. Yes, blizzard warnings, very heavy snow up to 2 feet there, potentially along the lake there in western Michigan, with those really strong winds as well. Janet says, blizzard going through Cheyenne, Wyoming, and below zero temperatures. We live 20 miles west, so even colder than the city. Yes, in those open areas, especially into Wyoming there, things are going to be cold. I know you got a lot of winter weather advisories, high wind warnings, and stuff like that, and winter storm warnings in Wyoming. That system's moving through as we speak and going into tonight. That's going to be the height of the event for Wyoming out there. Again, you're Wyoming and a lot of the central Great Plains is very flat out there, very easy for the winds to move through at the surface. So very strong winds moving through those areas. Durbin says, do you think snow accumulations, what are they saying, are kind of low? They're not low. It's just the system has trended a lot faster than what was previously thought. So you see this Arctic front moving through the Midwest and the Ohio Valley here, going into portions of the Thursday and into Friday. And originally what was thought is that the system would slow down and kind of, revolve around itself as we head through the day on Friday. But actually the trends have been the Arctic front is going to be so strong. It's going to push that cold, dry air and undercut that snow, and it's going to kind of lead to lesser snow accumulations back here across Iowa, Missouri, and Illinois. And still at that, we're still going to have those high snow ratios, 15 to 1, 20 to 1, 30 to 1, even in some spots with those snow ratios. And again, if you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, 15 to 1 a ratio means 1 inch of water, 1 inch of liquid would actually equivalent to 15 inches of snow. 20 inches here of snow would be equivalent here with 1 inch of liquid. Again, it just depends on how cold your temperatures are in these areas. So very good questions there. Yeah, I did see somebody here saying, Robert says, is this model using the 10 to 1 ratio? No, this is the Kuchera value. Here, I'll show you. This is more of an accurate depiction. This is what it's called a Kuchera ratio. This is more of what you could expect to see on the snow, on the ground. It's not perfect science, but again, it is showing you a better ratio than what the 10 to 1, again, the 10 to 1 ratio is not going to happen with this system. It's just so cold. We're going to have 15 to 1, 20 to 1, and even 30 to 1 ratios with this system. So very fluffy snow. If you look out the door and you see how fluffy the snow is and it fluffs up quickly with those dendrites, with the snowfall and the snowflakes out there, yeah, we're going to be seeing those really puffy snowflakes that accumulate very quickly. You have those 1 inch per hour rates here, and it looks like more snow than it really is. It just fluffs up so quickly out there with those very high snowfall ratios. And the higher the ratios go, so like for example, 15 to 1 is a wetter snow than 20 to 1. 20 to 1 is wetter snow than 30 to 1. And the higher those ratios go, the drier the snow will be. And again, it almost looks like styrofoam. If you look out the door here and you have those dry snowflakes, it almost will look like styrofoam here as well, if you kind of check that out. So that's pretty interesting as well. Michelle says, what about upper South Carolina, the Chesterfield County, Marlboro County areas? South Carolina, you guys aren't going to see much in the way of any snow. It looks like here on this map using the NAM model, nada. We're not seeing any snow for South Carolina. Same thing here for the other model I'm looking at. Again, just mainly rainfall for South Carolina. Still going to be too warm. A chilly rain, but it's still going to be too warm for snow across South Carolina. So good question there. Let's see here. They keep repeating they can't pinpoint how much snow we're going to get. They're stressing on the cold. It could be, yes, the cold is the hallmark of this system. The snowfall is definitely, again, of course, you're going to see 2-foot snow somewhere across the Great Lakes or southeastern Canada. Again, that's a lot of snow, but the hallmark of this storm is really going to be the strong winds and those extreme wind chills out there that I'll be showing you here momentarily, because yeah, we're going to be seeing those strong winds that are going to be knocking down those wind chills. And when you've got temperatures around 0 or below 0 as it is, those wind chills will be dropping back here well below 0. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Brendan says, will we get more snow in central Arkansas in January and February? That's a good bet. I'd say probably more February than January of what I'm seeing. Again, we'll go over the long range weather forecast here at the end of this live stream as well. We'll look ahead to all the rest of winter of 2022 and 2023 to kind of pinpoint what you can expect going all the way through the March timeframe of 2023. So you guys can check that out here. I'll be doing that here momentarily. Michelle says, I'd love to have a white Christmas here in North Carolina mountains, but guess not. You go a little farther north, Michelle, into portions of West Virginia, and you'll get your white Christmas. But again, yeah, unfortunately, no white Christmas for the Carolinas or the deep south. Again, too far south for snowfall here. But really at that, Tennessee Valley, guys, here in the middle Tennessee, around Nashville, Knoxville, Crossville, Tennessee, some of these areas could be up around an inch of snow, especially in those Smoky Mountains areas and then those Appalachians here in the eastern Tennessee. I'd say about an inch or so of snow is a good bet across those areas from Nashville to Crossville to Knoxville there in middle and eastern Tennessee. Barbara says, stay safe, everyone. Merry Christmas to you all. Well, Merry Christmas to you, and you stay safe as well. Barbara, thank you for joining this live stream. Definitely appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Hi there. The NAM seems to put the low a lot farther to the north than the other models. Well, the thing is that the low is going to go farther north because it's a stronger low pressure system. If you guys can imagine, and I know you meteorologists that are in the chat here as well, low pressure systems here, the stronger they get, they tend to go farther to the north. They tend to go farther to the north here. And let's kind of give you a little bit of an example of what I'm talking about here. So you see at first that the low pressure system is at a 1012 millibar low, right? Across eastern Wisconsin on the NAM model, the 18Z NAM at 12Z on Thursday. That's about midnight time frame, okay? And you see how this low deepens to a 1001. It's still going kind of west to east, right? You see a 1001 low here across those areas in the upper Great Lakes. But check out as the low starts to deepen to a 981, it still goes from west to east. Again, it moves from west to east, right? But as it really strengthens and deepens and you get those tight isobars on the backside, look how the low transforms from going from west to east and strengthens and goes more northeast and it starts to turn more back to the north. Usually low pressure systems, they wrap around those strong winds around themselves and they go farther north as they get stronger. So you see by Friday evening, going towards the end of the day on the 23rd, that low pressure system deepens to around a 971 or give or take millibar low pressure system, and then again it deepens even further. Again, staying at about a 975, and again it moves more north into central Ontario there and western Quebec. So that's kind of what we're seeing. That's what those stronger low pressure systems are doing. That's usually what they do. Yeah, stronger low pressure systems, the faster they deepen, the more north they go. The weaker they are, they'll stay more on a west to east trajectory. And it just all depends too on the blocking pattern up to the north. Of course, there's a lot of other factors than just the low pressure system itself. It depends on how strong the high pressure system is from the west, the blocking pattern up across Greenland. There's a lot of factors that go into that. But just generally speaking, that's what we see out there. Keep your questions coming here in the live stream, guys. I definitely appreciate you guys asking. I'm happy to answer all your questions out there. Michelle says, thanks, United States. Merry Christmas. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everyone. Yes, thank you, Michelle. Thank you for joining. Let's see. Let's see here. Brendan says, why are you excited for next week? Okay. Guys have any questions out there? Yes, another thing here, I'm glad that Tam brought that up. Prepare for power outages, everyone. There's always a possibility of power outages when you put some heavy snow like this. And again, we're going to be seeing those strong winds as well. Again, sustained winds across these areas, well over 20, 30 miles per hour. And then those higher wind gusts that could be over 50, 60 miles an hour. You always have to worry about those power outages. And what makes this situation a little bit more unique is that you got all that cold air on the backside of this system. So if you lose power, you want to go use a warming center. You want to go somewhere to stay warm because these wind chills that I'm going to show you here right now are going to be pretty prolific. These wind chills are going to be dropping all the way south to the Gulf Coast as we head through this weekend. And again, these below zero wind chills are going to be dropping as far south as the Gulf Coast potentially as well. So we'll watch that. Let's go here toward the wind chills. So looking at the temperatures going into the day tomorrow, these are your high temperatures on Thursday, December 22nd here tomorrow. You can see clearly where that Arctic front is, and look at how sharp this Arctic front is here. For example, Chicago, you'll be in the mid 30s here going into Thursday afternoon, but just an hour or two west of you, you're going to be in the single digits to double digits below zero with the temperatures. That's not even taking into account the wind chills. Same thing down here into Houston. You'll be in the mid 60s, around 64, 65 degrees going in through the day there on Thursday. And then back up to the northwest, just a couple hours northwest of Houston, you'll be in the teens and 20s across the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, Wichita Falls, Amarillo, and even those single digits there toward Tulsa, Oklahoma City. These are your high temperatures. Yes, 8 degrees is your high in Oklahoma City and Tulsa there tomorrow, 10 degrees there in Amarillo, 7 degrees places like Rockford, Illinois, 12 below is the high there across Des Moines. And then, yes, 20 degrees below zero. That's as far as you go with the high temperatures across the western Dakotas, Montana, and much of the southern Canadian provinces, especially British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan, and even much of Wyoming. Those are your high temperatures going into the day on Thursday. Throw in the winds on that. These are extreme wind chills, guys, and why we are saying this is going to be such a powerful system. These wind chills are going to be dropping to 40, 50 below zero across the Dakotas, western and northern Nebraska, portions of Montana, Wyoming, and all the way up into portions there of southwestern Canada. And again, these wind chills will be dropping below zero, 12 below into Oklahoma City, 11 below into portions there of Tulsa, 24 below could be your wind chill tomorrow afternoon in Kansas City. We could be seeing 37 degrees below zero across portions of Des Moines, Iowa, going into the day on Thursday. And yes, 8 below down here into Amarillo. And again, 15 degrees above zero into portions of Dallas. So you can see that sharp gradient, and that's why we have such a powerful system here with that low pressure system tracking right up the Ohio Valley and into the Great Lakes there. And then it gets even worse on Friday, December 23rd. We see these high temperatures dropping below freezing all the way to the immediate Gulf Coast, places like New Orleans, places like Houston. You guys will be around 30 degrees, if not 30 to 32 across those areas for highs on Friday. So we'll be at 30 degrees in Houston, 32, 33 degrees across the New Orleans region. Getting down into Panama City, you guys will be in the upper 30s to low 40s for high temperatures on Friday, the 23rd. We have below zero from Chicago back up through Milwaukee here, Green Bay, and then all the way up across the upper Midwest and the northern plains, all of southern Canada. We got 12, 13 degrees down here in the middle and eastern Tennessee for highs on Friday. And again, single digits across portions there of Kansas into Missouri, southern Illinois, and then Little Rock, 18 degrees on Friday. Just some of these spots that we'll be watching. Feel like temperatures now. Friday, the expansive nature of this front, it's going to make it all the way to the Gulf Coast, Central Florida, and even Mexico, and off the East Coast on Friday. These are your wind chill values. I expect a lot of wind chill products to be out for the National Weather Services across these areas. At least wind chill advisories, if not wind chill warnings, a good bet, especially across the Dakotas, Minnesota here through Iowa, and much of the Ohio Valley. So places like Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, you'll be around 16 below in the afternoon for wind chill on Friday, getting back through Columbus, Cincinnati, Dayton, Ohio, around 20, 25 below with the wind chill on Friday, and then going back toward the west across Chicago, Madison, Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Green Bay, La Crosse, Wisconsin, getting toward Des Moines. All these areas will be 25 to 30 degrees below zero on Friday, and then those 30 to 40 below wind chills here, the coldest air, will be found across places like Rapid City, back toward Fargo, Bismarck. These are the areas we'll be watching for those extreme wind chills on Friday. And then going ahead to Sunday, I know we skipped over Christmas Eve, but looking here, this is your high temperatures on Christmas Day itself. This is Christmas Day, and you can see on either side of zero here, above or below, we'll have those high temperatures at -6 up here towards portions of Fargo and to portions of Bismarck, and getting up toward the Twin Cities around 0 degrees for a high on Christmas Day. You got 11 degrees across Chicago there along the lakefront, and again, across much of the Ohio Valley, southern Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, much of Pittsburgh, into portions of central Pennsylvania. We'll be talking about teens for highs across those areas on Christmas Day. We got 20s for highs across Nashville, getting into Knoxville here, 23 to 25 degrees for highs on Christmas Day. You got 34 degrees across portions of Jackson, Mississippi on Christmas Day. Portions there of Florida. Yeah, we're only going to get up to near 50 degrees for a high in Miami, Florida, and the Florida Keys there on Christmas Day. So it's definitely going to be sweater weather across Florida and much of the deep south into Texas as we get into the day on Sunday. We have some modification on the backside of this Arctic plunge across West Texas and into the western plains going into Christmas Day. We're going to see some modification with temperatures rising into the upper 30s to mid 40s. Places like Amarillo, down and toward El Paso, getting into portions there of Albuquerque. We'll be seeing temperatures in the 40s around those areas on Christmas Day. And then back across the west coast from California to Arizona, all the way up there toward Portland, Seattle, we'll be seeing those warmer temperatures because we have a ridge of high pressure across the eastern portions of the Pacific. And there we'll see temperatures in the 40s, 50s, 60s down there toward Los Angeles, and around 60 degrees there in Phoenix, Flagstaff, getting back there towards Surprise, Arizona as well, and then getting back across portions there of the Tucson area. So that will be something to watch. Giving you a general idea of that. So hopefully that helps you guys out with the temperatures there. And again, these wind chills on Christmas Day will not be much better. Wind chills again below zero across the upper Great Lakes, the Ohio Valley, and the Midwest. So that will be something to watch. And all of southern Canada as well going through the day on Sunday. Again, if you guys are here with me in the live stream, if you guys have not yet already, hit the like button down below. It helps get all this weather information out to more and more people, guys. I do this for you. And again, hit the subscribe button, everyone, if you have not already. I do daily weather forecast videos on this channel. You guys can check out my latest video here this morning if you guys want to. I post every single morning for the most part around 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time, so you guys can check that out every morning. So hit the subscribe button down below, the like button, and also the notification bell to get all of my daily updates on this channel. Thank you so much. So let's get back here to answering any questions you guys have. Noah says, can you check on Michigan? For what, though? For snow or for cold? It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy in Michigan here. That sums it up for you. So hopefully that helps you out. There's no other way to slice it. No sugarcoating it. It's going to be snowy, and it's going to be very cold in Michigan. The entire state, from the Upper Peninsula all the way down towards the border between Indiana and Ohio. It's going to be cold, and it's going to be snowy in Michigan. Doesn't look like much of snow for Lincoln, Nebraska, but the wind chills will be strong. Yes, it doesn't look like much snow. You're right. But yeah, into Nebraska, these wind chills will be brutal, especially going into Thursday here tomorrow. Wind chills will be down to 35, if not closing in on 50 below zero across these areas in Nebraska going through the day on Thursday. Same thing can be true on Friday, easing up just a little bit, but still 20 to 30 below wind chills in Nebraska are no walk in the park. And we'll be seeing that on Friday. And then going into Christmas Day itself, wind chills will be in the single digits to teens across eastern Nebraska, and then western Nebraska seeing some modification to those wind chills going into the day on Sunday, Christmas Day. So we'll keep an eye on that. Lake Houston, Texas, wind and cold most likely. Yes, it's going to get cold in Houston. Going back to the day on Friday. Actually, we'll go back to Thursday. So Thursday, it's going to be weather whiplash down here. If you live in coastal Texas, you're going to be in the mid-60s and saying, where's the cold? Well, it's up to the north on Thursday, and it's going to be plunging south as we get into Friday. So you're going to be in the mid-60s on Thursday across Houston, and then you're going to be dropping down to the upper 20s and low 30s in Houston the next day. So you're going to see nearly a 30 to 40-degree temperature drop across coastal Texas and toward the Houston area, Tyler, Texas, back down toward Corpus Christi, Brownsville, some of those areas here to name in just one day, in 24 hours. So that is something to keep an eye on. Again, it's a shock to the system, and there's no doubt about that. I definitely agree. I'm very sorry if if I skip over your guys' questions. I don't mean to. I'm just trying. A lot of questions are coming in fast and furious here on this live stream, and I'm just trying to answer as many as I can here, just kind of picking and choosing as I go. How's it looking for Nashville, Tennessee? It looks very cold. It looks very cold. Here are the temperatures in Nashville on Thursday. Again, same thing for Nashville, up near 50 degrees tomorrow on Thursday. And then going into the day on Friday, we're going to see a high of 12 in Nashville. So it's going to go from 50 degrees for a high in Nashville on Thursday to 12 on Friday, with wind chills that it could be below zero to around -5 to -10 in the Nashville area going into the day on Friday. So talk about weather whiplash, guys. Yes, it's going to get very cold. But for Nashville, for snow prospects, the prospects for snow across your area, this is what we're seeing. I think, again, I stand true with this. I think an inch or less across much of middle and eastern Tennessee, across especially those higher elevations into the Smoky Mountains, the Appalachians here. Excuse me. We could be talking around anywhere from an inch or less across Nashville, Crossville, Murfreesboro, getting over there towards Knoxville, Tennessee. Those are some of the areas where I think we could see at least an inch of snow, if not a little bit less than that. But again, this storm is not going to, excuse me. This storm is not going to be a snowmaker for your area, just be mainly some strong winds and especially that deep freeze with that cold Arctic air moving in. Excuse me, guys, there's a lot of dry air here where I'm at in my room, so I do apologize. But yes, we are seeing some cold air for Nashville, that is for sure. Max says a National Guard is getting deployed tomorrow in my state of Indiana. Yes, probably for the snowfall here, I'm sure, and all that cold air definitely helping out. We appreciate our National Guard and the our men and women there of the National Guard. Definitely appreciate them. Susan says, how about eastern panhandle of West Virginia? Very good question. It looks like for snowfall for you, it looks like for West Virginia, if you live in the eastern panhandle, I think 3 to 6 inches will be a good bet for you if you're talking about snow. But now if you're talking about the cold weather, again, I'm sorry I'm skipping around to these slides, kind of answering some questions, but the temperatures Thursday will be in the 30s and 40s for you in West Virginia, and then you'll be dropping down into the single digits to near zero in the eastern panhandle in just a day. So same thing, just like Nashville. One day you're going to be near 40, and then the next day you're going to be dropping some 40 to 45 degrees and be in the single digits above or below zero into West Virginia on Friday, and then those wind chills will be below zero, 10 to 20 degrees below zero with the wind chills on Friday across all of West Virginia, including the eastern panhandle there of West Virginia as well. So great question for you there as well. Thank you. Kate says, just joined the broadcast. What do you see for snowfall in western Pennsylvania? Good question. Thank you so much for asking. Western Pennsylvania, I'm seeing a good 3 to 6 inches is looking like a good bet here. According to the NAM model, I go over to the other model. Again, 3 to 6 inches looks like a good bet. So yes, if you live in Pittsburgh, western Pennsylvania, some of these areas there, you could be expecting, and even central Pennsylvania, yeah, 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for you guys. Great question. Thanks for asking. Anything for north central West Virginia, the Fairmont area? Yes, snowfall, a 3 to 6 inch snowfall around your area. And again, very cold, 10 to 20 below wind chills on Friday. And we're going to be seeing those temperatures plummeting some 40 degrees. We're going to be in the 40s on Thursday there in West Virginia, and then dropping to near zero on either side of zero, above or below zero for high temperatures on Friday, with wind chills down to near 20 below in some spots, especially in those higher elevations along the Appalachians there in West Virginia. Rhonda Warner says, what about New York State? I hear heavy winds, 67 miles an hour. Well, I don't know about, exact numbers on the wind gusts. All I do know is that this system is going to tightly wind itself up, and you see those tight isobars, especially off of the Great Lakes, but even into western and upstate New York as well, undercutting some of that snowfall. We're going to be seeing some snow across New York. I say a good, again, 3 to 6 inches, localized higher amounts in upstate New York. Could be closing in on a foot there across portions, especially of Buffalo, New York, and Watertown, especially with that lake effect snow machine. But regarding temperatures and the winds, first of all, across New York are going to be strong. I don't know about, if you're talking about New York City, we're not going to be seeing too strong of winds, maybe around 10 to 20 miles an hour through the day on Friday. The stronger winds in New York will be around upstate New York and western New York State going on Friday, and then some of these wind gusts could be around 40, 50 miles per hour. I'm not too bought on the 67 mile an hour winds in New York yet. We'll have to kind of dive into some of the data to see if I can confirm that, but yeah, right now I think a good bet of about 10 to 20 mile an hour winds in New York City with gusts that could be over 30 miles an hour. And then western New York State, we could see wind gusts that could be up to around 50, 60 miles per hour, especially as you get closer there towards the lakes, like Lake Erie and stuff like that. Great question, though. Sheldon and Dawn, can you talk about possible ice conditions for the Ohio Valley, the tri-state area? Thank you so much. We're not talking about really that much of an ice storm. This is not really an ice storm, really not even a snowstorm for the United States, in exception to the Great Lakes and the southeastern Canadian provinces here. It's going to be a wind machine, and it's going to be bringing down cold air. That's, like I said all along, that's the hallmark of this system. It's not really the snow accumulations. Like I said before, it doesn't really matter if you guys get 2 inches of snow, 8 inches, or a foot of snow, or 2 feet. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be blowing around the same way. Now, of course, you get more snow, it's going to be blowing around more, but if you get 2 inches of snow, you still can have those ground blizzard conditions, even though it's not snowing, with those strong winds picking up that dry, dry powdery snow and, blowing it around. So that's what we're going to be seeing through the day on Friday, especially at the peak of this event, with a 975 millibar low centered up here in the upper Great Lakes. Great question. But yeah, regarding the ice potential, let me go back here to the slides. Again, this is going to be rain turning quickly over to sleet and then snow before you know it. It's not going to have much chance to, have freezing rain or anything like that. So icing is going to be very low on this system. We're not going to be talking about much of an ice event. Pennsylvania, 3 to 6 inches on the backside of the system is a good bet there. especially into the Pittsburgh area there, back into West Virginia and eastern Ohio. Again, 3 to 6 inches, probably on the lower end of the spectrum. Again, I say 3 to 6 inches because you just, again, the higher snowfall ratios, you just never know. But most of these areas, so if I'm talking about western and central Pennsylvania, West Virginia, eastern Ohio, when I say 3 to 6 inches, it's probably going to end up on the lower end of that scale. So probably closer to 3 or 4 inches versus 5 or 6 inches. But again, that is a wide variety. Again, it's going to be a dry snow. So again, it can fluff up very quickly to 6 inches, or you could get a quick shot of 3 to 4 inches of snow. So again, 3 to 6 inches is a good bet there. Western Illinois, yes, you guys are going to see a quick shot of snow. So a day ago, I was talking about this. I'm glad you joined. A day ago, this system looked like Illinois, Wisconsin, and Iowa were going to get crushed by a blizzard. But the models have trended towards a faster Arctic front with this system, with the snowfall moving through quickly with a quick shot of a few inches of snow and then the very cold air behind that and the strong winds. And like I said, it doesn't matter in Western Illinois. You guys could get 3 inches of snow and still have those 50 to 60 mile an hour winds on the backside of the system, and it could be near whiteout conditions. Like I said, let me go back to the alerts here for you guys to show you, talking specifically about Western Illinois. Much of Illinois right now is actually under those pink shaded areas, an exception down here towards Carbondale, which is around those, the purple areas. That's winter weather advisories. But places like Western Illinois there towards Macomb, toward Peoria, Chicago, Rockford, all these areas, the Quad Cities, Davenport, Iowa, these are in winter storm warnings right now. And I think these will probably likely turn over to blizzard warnings, what you see up here into Iowa and Minnesota and that through the day tomorrow. I think these orange shaded colors will be expanding south and eastward through the day tomorrow here to cover more of Chicago, Indianapolis, maybe Detroit. And again, I expect here in a couple days the entirety of the Great Lakes to have at least a blizzard warning, at least a chance to see that going through this weekend. So if you guys aren't under a blizzard warning across the Great Lakes this weekend, I would be very surprised. I think everybody across Wisconsin, Minnesota, at least southeastern Minnesota, Michigan, northern Indiana, north central Illinois, maybe even parts there of eastern Missouri getting through Ohio will probably be at least in a blizzard warning in the coming days. So that we'll continue to keep an eye on that. Good questions, guys. Indiana, yes, heavy snow in Indiana. I think a good bet for you. Again, going back through the slides, a good quick shot of snow here across Indiana. You can see that Arctic front swinging through the strong gusty winds, and then a quick shot of snow for you through the morning hours on Friday, and then lifting up into portions of the Great Lakes, the New England interior New England, and then across portions there of Ontario, Quebec, with the heavier snow going into the Christmas Eve, Christmas Day time frame. Snowfall accumulations for you in Indiana, about 3 to 6 inches. Heavier snow up there toward Gary, Indiana, South Bend, and then eventually into portions there along the Lake Michigan shoreline into western Michigan. That's where we could be seeing over a foot of snow, if not up to 2 feet there. But again, Indianapolis down towards Evansville, Indiana, these areas, Fishers, Indiana, some of these areas there will be around 3 to 6 inches. A quick shot of snow for you. Again, on the lower end of the spectrum, probably on that again, just like I told you in Ohio, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia, probably 3 to 4 inches versus 5 to 6 for you. Northern Kentucky, 2 to 4 inches. I think 2 to 4 inches is a good bet for you around Lexington, Kentucky, back toward Louisville. I think these areas will be around 2 to 4 inches for you. So good question there. You live in New York City. You're going to be mainly rain with the system. You might get a quick shot of snow here on the backside of the system. Again, you can see the rainfall across the I-95 corridor from Boston through Connecticut, Rhode Island, again, down Long Island here to New York City, and then New Jersey all the way down to Washington, D.C. All these areas along the I-95 corridor will mainly be liquid precipitation, mainly be rain through the day on Thursday and on Friday, and then again, maybe a quick shot of a dusting to a half an inch of snow on the backside across New York. Other than that, not really much in the way of a blockbuster snowstorm for you guys in New York. Not with this storm. Not a blockbuster snow for you by any means in New York City. St. Paul, Minnesota. Yes, some heavy snow for you. A quick shot of snow. Looks like some very strong winds on the backside. Maybe some near whiteout conditions in St. Paul, Minnesota. I think about, let's see here, St. Paul, Minnesota. I think about several inches is good. At least, 4 to 6 inches, if not a little bit more for you, is a good bet, especially if you live there in eastern Minnesota around the Twin Cities on eastward toward northern Wisconsin, northeast Iowa. You guys could see several inches there. Definitely breaking the shovels and snowblowers out. Toronto, Ontario could get over 12 inches. Yes, Toronto all the way up toward Montreal, 12 to 18 inches with localized over 18 inches. We could be approaching 2 feet in some of these areas, especially up into central Ontario and the upper Great Lakes. That's where we're going to get crushed by some very heavy snow up here into central Ontario. We could be talking about potentially 3 feet snowfall up here into central Ontario with all said and done, with the system really starting to strengthen through the weekend. So yeah, a pretty strong crippling blizzard up here across central Ontario for sure. Okay, the 18Z GFS just finished here. I'll look through that for you guys. Let's go through the models here and show you the different scenarios. Again, it doesn't really matter with the snowfall. It's just the winds, guys. It doesn't matter. Let's see. Okay, so let's go to the 18Z GFS. And yeah, it looks like still those blizzard conditions here across portions of Michigan. And then again, the GFS is not that much different really than the NAM model. It really isn't. It's pretty similar, guys. You got those blizzard conditions on the backside here. Let's zoom in up here across portions of the Great Lakes. We're going to be talking about the GFS is putting out some, similar totals of what I was talking about. You got those 5 to 8 inch snows across portions of Wisconsin, back down here through north central Iowa, eastern Minnesota. You got a few inches here, maybe 3 to 6 inches across portions there in northern and central Illinois. Heavier snows with the blizzard-like whiteout conditions across portions there of Michigan, getting down to Ohio, Indiana. We could be over a foot of snow, especially along the western side of Michigan here, near the Lake Michigan areas, and then the upper peninsula of Michigan there toward Lake Superior. We could be seeing over 2 feet of snow potentially, and then extremely heavy snow up here into Ontario and Quebec towards Toronto, Montreal, getting back up into central Ontario. We could be talking over 2 feet in some spots, if not up to 3 foot snow in those areas, according to the GFS model, which again, going back to the NAM model, it's really similar, guys. It really is. The NAM model to the GFS is really similar. Great questions, guys. Yeah, you're definitely welcome for the info, Matt. Amanda says, yay, how about northeastern Pennsylvania? Northeastern Pennsylvania, let's go back. I think the RAP model, let's see. Nah, we're not going to use that one. I think, yeah, okay. Northeastern Pennsylvania, looks like you're going to see anywhere from, I don't know, guy. It looks like an inch, 1 to 2 inches is a decent bet for northeastern Pennsylvania. Again, not a big snow for you, just a lot of cold air on the backside of the system. So mainly cold air, strong winds, light snow. So about 1 to 2 inches is a good bet. Again, if you guys have not yet liked the live stream down below, we're up to 115 likes. If you guys want to help me out and get towards 1,000 likes on this live stream, and also subscribe down below to you guys, all you have to do is press 3 buttons, guys. Press the like button, that thumbs up button, the subscribe button down below. It's free to do. You get all of my exclusive daily weather forecast content here on this channel, including long-range weather forecasts. I cover all of North America, Canada, the United States, the tropics, and everything in between from coast to coast. And I cover also, like I said, long range weather forecasts, the climate updates and stuff like that, climate data. And again, you guys can hit the notification bell to get all these live streams and all of my videos. I post videos every single morning for the most part, around 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time, so you guys can get all that information as well. Keep asking questions, guys. I got the answers here. I got the answers for you guys. Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I'm not exactly familiar with that, so let me see what I can do. So if you guys are asking me specific city names, I'll have to look these up real quick. So Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I'm from the Midwest, but I'm not familiar with where this is at here. So just give me one moment, guys. Just south of Louisville, yeah, you guys could see about 3 to 6 inches, 2 to 4 inches, 3 to 6 inches, somewhere in that range across north central Kentucky. You'll definitely be breaking out the shovels, if not the snow blowers, out there for that event in Kentucky. Again, this will be blowing around in north central Kentucky just as much as it is across the Great Lakes as well. Let me go back here to my slides. So you can see that, yeah, north central Kentucky here. I know it's kind of tough to see. Darker blues, 2 to 4, 3 to 6 inches. And again, those strong winds on the backside of this system, especially in northern Kentucky, around 15 to 25 miles per hour. Gusts that could be up near 40 to 45 miles per hour on the backside of the system as well. Going to be blowing a lot of that snowfall around. Cynthia says, see ya. Well, thank you for joining, Cynthia. Definitely appreciate it. Northwestern Ohio, they up the totals, huh? Let's see here. Yeah, northwestern Ohio, you're going to probably get about 5 to 8 inches of snow, localized 10 inches possible with this system in northwestern Ohio. That's a good bet. Yes, I do agree. There is a little bit of a difference on this. Again, the NAM model is farther north. I do agree, but again, the theme is there for the heavier snowfall across southeastern Canada, the Upper Great Lakes, and portions of the Midwest. How much snow in Toledo, Ohio? It looks like about 3 to 6 inches for you in Toledo. Again, same thing across, I think, the entirety of the state of Ohio into western Pennsylvania, getting into portions there of West Virginia. We're going to be talking about a good 3 to 6 inches of snow is a good bet for you. And again, getting those shovels out, the snow blowers, that's definitely a likelihood across Ohio there with the 3 to 6 inch snowfall. Again, for you, it's going to be blowing around as well. So all of the snowfall that falls down, that powdery, dry snow that you see in Ohio with the 3 to 6 inches, it's going to be blowing around in a big way. Whiteout conditions through the day on Friday and going into Saturday. Still those 10 to 20 mile per hour winds there with gusts over 30 miles per hour in Ohio and Indiana, going through the Great Lakes areas here with those winds ripping and roaring here from the west-northwest, going through the weekend towards Christmas Eve and maybe even Christmas Day still as the system pulls out and into portions of southeastern Canada during that period. So we'll watch it for you guys. Again, I'll have all these updates here on my weather videos here in the mornings. I'll have another video for you guys in the morning tomorrow around 9 a.m. Central Time, so you guys can check that out. I had a video this morning, so if you guys want to check that out as well, thank you guys so much. Alrighty. Yeah, again, guys, hit the like button down below and the subscribe button, the notification bell, so you guys don't have to miss any of this weather coverage. Again, I love doing these live streams for you guys, answering questions, giving you valuable information here, and keeping you ahead of the storm. And that's why I'm here. Again, all your weather coverage. It's in my motto, guys, and that's what I will do is give you all your weather coverage out here across Canada, the United States here, and the tropics when it gets to hurricane season as well. Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, very strong winds in Chicago. Chicago is going to be an interesting setup here. I hate to say it, but it looks like probably an uncertainty of snowfall in Chicago. To be quite honest with you, some of the models are showing 6 inches, others are showing 3 inches. But no matter what you see, it doesn't matter. Like I said all along, it's going to blow around. 2 inches is going to blow as much around as 6 inches of snow. 6 inches of snow blow around as much as 2 feet of snow. It doesn't matter. But again, if I'm looking at this here at the NAM model of Chicago, about 2 to 4 inches. Looking here at this other model, about 5 to 8 inches. It doesn't matter. I think a good bet for Chicago is taking the middle ground. I think 4 to 5 inches is a good bet for Chicago. And again, some strong winds on the backside of the system. 20 to 30 mile an hour winds through the day on Friday. Whiteout conditions near Chicago. I think those are one of the areas that I expect those blizzard warnings to be in effect for Chicago going into the day on Friday with these really strong winds ripping and roaring across the Midwest and the Great Lakes here. 20 to 30 mile an hour winds is definitely a good bet with gusts that could be over 50 miles per hour. Very well respectable across the Chicago areas, especially across the Lake Michigan there into western Michigan. That's why we have those blizzard warnings already in effect in western Michigan already. Yes, Johnny in the chat brought up a very good, interesting thing that I actually love talking about. It's frostquakes. Usually, when you get extreme cold, there's what you call frostquakes, and what they are, just kind of like earthquakes, but just with frost. What it does is you have these very sharp differences in temperatures. Here, let me just show you this just for an example. So you see here on Thursday, the high temperatures, for example, into central Arkansas in the 40s, right? 47 degrees, for example, in Little Rock. Well, the next day, it's going to be dropping to about 17, 18 degrees here in Little Rock on Friday, and a very quick expanse and contract of that, ground with the soil out there, and those freezing temperatures could lead to frostquakes. So those are always pretty interesting. You guys could look that up. They're pretty cool. You guys can actually hear the big booms outside. That's just the frostquakes sometimes with the expanse and contraction here of the ground with those frosty conditions and the cold weather down there as well. So very interesting setup. Yeah, I could definitely see frostquakes with this. That's for sure. Northwest Indiana, Lilith says Northwest Indiana, very cold, very snowy as well. Looks like we're going to be seeing a good 3 to 6 inches in Northwest Indiana. Again, if you're near the lake, near Gary, Indiana, South Bend, along the the lake shoreline there from Waukegan down through Chicago into portions there of Western Michigan as well. Very heavy snowfall there, especially near the lake. But in general, Northwest Indiana about 3 to 6 inches there as well. Very strong winds. Winds will be coming in around 20 to 30 miles per hour across those areas going through the day on Friday. Again, I expect probably some blizzard warnings to be expanding across Indiana here. Let me just show you again. You can see the blizzard warnings for the time being are across Iowa here, south central Minnesota into western portions there. Michigan, far northwestern Indiana. I expect these to expand more into Illinois and Indiana here toward maybe the Indianapolis area going closer through the day on Thursday and Friday. So we'll see if these can expand a little bit farther to the south and east or not. We'll keep an eye out for that. Again, I'll have a video out for you guys tomorrow. We'll be talking all about the setup here and the new information coming in about this system. Northwestern Tennessee, right now, actually in extreme northwestern Tennessee, you have winter weather advisories. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple winter weather advisories are hoisted for Nashville to Knoxville across much of Tennessee tomorrow. We'll just have to wait and see how far south the snow line does get. It really depends on how far south this Arctic front makes it and how progressive it is. But I do think here, with this setup, you have all this cold air here dropping south across portions of the Tennessee Valley here, and then you got the precipitation moving through Tennessee. It's going to be short-lived, but I wouldn't be surprised for Tennessee standards to see maybe a quick inch or two of snow. Again, around an inch is a good bet here from Nashville to Crossville to Knoxville, and then around the Murfreesboro area. A good, quick hitting inch of snow is possible through the day on Friday, so that will be something to watch overnight Thursday into Friday morning across those areas from west to east. Mike says Battle Creek, Michigan. Yes, Michigan, you guys are going to get a crippling blizzard, it looks like, across your area. Very heavy snow through Thursday, going to Thursday night, up here through Friday. Friday is the time frame where we're going to have to watch here with a 981 millibar low here strengthening in northeastern Michigan. Backside of this system, we're going to have those strong west-northwesterly winds howling between 20 and 30 miles per hour across the entirety of the state of Michigan and really all of the upper Midwest. And wind gusts will be over 50, if not closing in on 60 miles per hour across your area with potentially 1 to 2 inch per hour snowfall rates. And that's where we could be seeing those heavy snowfall bands set up all the way through Saturday on Christmas Eve. Yeah, in Battle Creek, Michigan, we could be talking about feet of snowfall. Again, anywhere from 12 to 18 inches is a good bet as you get into central and western Michigan there. So that will be something to keep an eye on. Again, snow blowers will be humming across the upper Midwest and southeastern Canada going through this Christmas holiday weekend. That is for sure. Yeah, New Jersey. New Jersey is going to see mainly rainfall from this system. You might have a quick shot at maybe a dusting to a half an inch of snow on the backside of this system, but it's not going to be very long-lived. It's going to be very short-lived. And again, as the system moves up to the north and east, again, New Jersey starting out with rainfall going through the day on Thursday. Here are some heavier pockets of rain, maybe a few snowflakes trying to mix in New Jersey Thursday night. Again, we have that Arctic front making its way into western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and into western Virginia as we get through the day on Friday into Friday morning. Still raining across portions of the I-95 corridor from Boston to New York City, getting into New Jersey on Friday morning. And then again, maybe a quick shot at a dusting to half an inch of snow with that in New Jersey, but I'm not expecting a lot of snow in your area. How bad for Minnesota? Minnesota, you guys are going to see mainly some very cold temperatures. The cold and the winds are going to be the main hallmark of the system for many areas, especially Minnesota there. You can see the cold plunge in temperatures dropping south, spilling south from Canada all the way to the Gulf Coast here going into this weekend. And again, for Minnesota, we're going to be talking about some heavier snow. We could be seeing anywhere from, from Rochester, Minnesota up toward the Twin Cities on eastward, and especially up there toward the Arrowhead of Minnesota. We could be talking about 5 to 8 plus inches of snow. Western Minnesota, anywhere from 1 to 3 inches is a good bet here. A quicker hitting snow across the western side of the state, a little bit more longer lived across eastern Minnesota as we get through this upcoming weekend. You're very welcome, David. You're very welcome. Sadie says, what about Cincinnati? Cincinnati, 3 to 6 inches of snow is a good bet. Getting the snow blowers and shovels out here this weekend across Cincinnati is a good bet. You guys will have a white Christmas. It's a guarantee. And again, we'll be talking about those very strong winds as well, blowing around that snow in Cincinnati on the backside of the system on Friday. I expect blizzard conditions, whiteout conditions there. And again, some of the snowfall will be enough to reduce that visibility under a quarter mile to near zero visibility in some of these areas across Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio as we get through the day on Friday. That's the height of this event, with that strong low pressure system bottoming out around 975 millibars as we get into Friday afternoon across these areas. Abby says West Virginia. West Virginia, you're going to see some heavy snow as well. You're going to be seeing anywhere from 3 to 6 inches, especially toward the Appalachian chain there and the panhandle of West Virginia. Otherwise, a good 1 to 3 inches is a good bet in those lower elevations. Doesn't matter if you get 1 to 3 inches, it's still going to be blowing around there into West Virginia. Some strong winds there as well, anywhere from about 10 to 20 miles an hour. Gusts over 30 miles an hour is a good bet into West Virginia. Could have some reduced visibilities through the day on Friday and going into Saturday morning for Christmas Eve. Ontario, yes, Ontario is going to be seeing probably the most significant snowfall out of this entire system in Ontario and Quebec. I expect 2 to 3 feet of snowfall up here into central Ontario. This is well north of Toronto and towards portions there of the upper peninsula of Michigan. We could be seeing near 2 foot snow, and then farther to the north into central Ontario and western Ontario here into Canada, we're going to be talking about 2 to 3 feet snowfall with those very strong blizzard-like conditions up here. We're going to be seeing the very strong winds through the day on Friday and into Saturday across Ontario. That includes Toronto and Montreal, getting into Quebec there as well. But again, central and western Ontario, 2 to 3 feet snow with winds that could be screaming in out of the northwest out here, sustained at 20 to 30 miles per hour, and wind gusts over 50 miles per hour in those areas. Southwestern Missouri, you're going to see a quick shot of snow in southwestern Missouri. Anywhere from about 1 to 3 inches is a good bet. Not much snow in your area. It's going to be mainly the cold. Getting into Missouri here, looking at the temperatures tomorrow, southwest Missouri, if you live in Joplin, all the way up toward Kansas City, Jefferson City, Springfield, Missouri, we're going to be in the single digits above or below zero going through the day on Thursday. Wind chills across southwestern Missouri will be about 10 to 20 degrees below zero on Thursday afternoon. And then through the day on Friday, we'll see single digit highs around 5 degrees or thereabout in through much of Missouri. Expecting here wind chills to be dropping back to teens below zero across these areas through Missouri, and especially southwestern Missouri for the specific question on here going into Friday. Christmas Day itself into portions of Missouri. Southwestern Missouri, you'll be in the low to mid 20s on Christmas Day. Wind chills down here into the single digits and teens on Christmas Day across Joplin, Missouri, Kansas City, Jefferson City, St. Louis, some of these areas here in Missouri there as well. Yes, St. Louis, Missouri. It's going to be cold for you guys through the weekend. Again, very cold temperatures, lots of snow as well. So, you know, enough snow in Missouri. I think, 1 to 3 inches is a good bet here. And then very cold. Winds, cold winds coming out of the west northwest, 20 to 30 miles per hour will be adding to the wind chill values across portions of St. Louis, and then going through Thursday afternoon tomorrow, single digit wind chills below zero in St. Louis going through the afternoon tomorrow, sharply dropping to 30 degrees below zero with the wind chills in St. Louis going into the day into Thursday night rather, and then on Friday, high temperatures on either side of zero here in portions of St. Louis. We could be averaging around 5 degrees for a high, above zero on Friday, with wind chills near 25 degrees below zero Friday afternoon in Missouri. So these are Friday afternoon wind chills, guys. Friday afternoon, we'll see wind chills averaging 20 to 30 below zero from the Ohio Valley back through the Midwest, and then 30 to 40 degrees, if not even 50 degrees below zero on Friday afternoon, averaged around the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, back into Montana, and all of the southern Canadian provinces up here, with the worst of the cold across southern Saskatchewan, southern Manitoba, and southeastern Alberta up here as well into Canada going into Friday, December 23rd. Evansville, Indiana, snowfall amounts. Okay. Again, I don't mean to, skip into your guys' questions. There's a lot of questions coming in. I'll be just kind of picking and choosing the questions that come through here. So again, appreciate everybody asking. If you guys have not yet, press the like button down below or the notification bell or the subscribe button. Most importantly, hit all three of those buttons, guys. You get all of my daily weather forecast updates and live streams here on this channel. You do not want to miss it. I do videos every single morning around 9 a.m. Central Time. So specifically for Evansville, Indiana, here was the question. Looks like about 3 to 6 inches for you guys, and very strong winds on the backside of the system, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds through the day on Friday here. In a couple of days, wind gusts over 50 miles an hour, and again, the cold will be settling in there. Excuse me, places like southern Indiana, we'll be seeing highs on Thursday into the 30s and low 40s. And then Evansville, Indiana, you'll be crashing from 40 degrees on Thursday back to the single digits for highs around 3 degrees or so on Friday. Wind chills Friday afternoon for you in Evansville around 15 to 25 degrees below zero for you guys in those areas into southern Indiana and Evansville specifically going into the day on Friday. Okay. How about North Carolina? Rhonda says, North Carolina, you're not going to see really any snow from this. And if you do, it'll be a couple of flurries, but it's really just going to be the cold air in North Carolina for you. Going to the day on Thursday, again, same thing here. We'll have 40s and 50s for highs on Thursday, North Carolina, dropping to those high temperatures back into the 20s and teens, especially into western and central North Carolina going on Friday. And then those single digit wind chills, into, teens to single digit wind chills across portions of the western Carolinas, especially in toward the Raleigh area, getting back toward Columbia, South Carolina on Friday afternoon. Joey the Gamer says, Northern Florida. Yes, Northern Florida, you're going to get very cold. Same thing here. Friday, you're going to be in the 60s across North Florida. And then as we get into the, did I say Friday? Thursday, you're going to be in the mid 60s on North Florida. And then Friday, we're going to be dropping back into the 30s and 40s across far northern Florida there from Jacksonville back toward Panama City, Tallahassee, and southern Georgia. And then the wind chills out there going through the day on Friday will be back into the 20s, if not teens, across far northwest Florida, southern Georgia, and then again North Florida itself from Jacksonville down toward Orlando there, Tampa Bay. We'll see those wind chills dropping back to 40s and 50s there. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, you're going to see lots of cold and lots of snow. Looks like about 3 to 6 inches. Localized higher amounts again along the Appalachian chain there with those colder temperatures, and again a little bit more enhanced snowfall around those mountain areas. But again, generally speaking, a 3 to 6 inch snow is a good bet for you. And again, the snow will be blowing around in a big way, 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts for you as we head through the day on Friday, if not even higher than that. Little Rock, Arkansas. Jennifer Wolf says Little Rock, Arkansas. Looks like about an inch or less for you for snowfall. It's not going to be the snow for you. It's going to be the cold. For Little Rock, Arkansas, you're going to see some strong winds. But again, it looks like the strongest of the winds will be to your north and east in the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes, closer to the low pressure system. Little Rock, again, this is weather whiplash for you, so be prepared. You're going to see 47 degrees for a high tomorrow on Thursday, December 22nd in Little Rock, and then we're going to be crashing into 18 degrees the next day. So we're going to go from 47 degrees for a high on Thursday tomorrow in Little Rock back to 18 on Friday, and then factoring in the wind chill Friday, we'll be down to about 5 to 6 degrees with the wind chill in Little Rock Friday afternoon, with even below zero wind chills potentially getting that far south Friday night into Saturday morning going into Christmas Eve for Little Rock. So you're very welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for joining the channel. Definitely appreciate all your questions out there, guys. Merry Christmas to you. And it looks like, let's see here, Central Indiana snowfall amounts. It looks like snowfall amounts, again, 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for Central Indiana. Higher amounts are possible here. If you look at this model here, we could have 5 to 8 inches if we see overperformance with this. But again, generally about 3 to 6 inches with the snow across like places like Fishers, Indiana, Indianapolis, around those areas, Lafayette, Indiana. And again, looking at the strong winds, blizzard conditions, I do expect probably some blizzard warnings being hoisted across portions of central Indiana through the day on Friday with these strong west-northwesterly winds screaming in at 20 to 30 miles an hour. Gusts could be over 50 miles an hour there. And then same thing here across Indiana. We'll see highs around 40 degrees on Thursday in Indianapolis, and then crashing down to near zero as we head into the day on Friday with wind chills that could be around 20 to 30 below zero on Friday afternoon across central Indiana. So do be prepared for that. Very strong Arctic push of air as we get through that time frame, that's for sure. Larry says, what is a bomb cyclone? A bomb cyclone is basically a low pressure system that essentially bombs out. It basically drops here. I'll show you an example. See how you see the low pressure system is a 1001 millibar low going into tomorrow evening, on Thursday evening. You can see it'll drop to a 981 millibar low pressure all the way into Friday morning very quickly, and then strengthening to a 971 millibar low on Friday night. So just in a 24-hour period, this could drop nearly 25 millibars, which in a 24-hour period, that would be called a bomb cyclone, as we call it. So it's pretty rare to happen across the Midwest and the Great Lakes, but it looks like with this system, that will occur. Yes, Ohio, you're going to see some heavy snow. LM says, anyone in Ohio here? Yes, heavy snowfall for you in Ohio. Some strong winds as well. Denver, Colorado. Yeah, Denver, you're just going to see mainly some very strong winds with this. It's going to just be the strong winds for sure. Maybe some higher elevation snows in the Rockies here west of Denver, maybe an inch or two of snow in the lower elevations in Denver itself, but it's really going to be the strong winds here on the lee side of the Rockies here with this system as it pushes through. Jeanne says, Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah, good. I'd say a good 1 inch of snow is a good bet for you, an inch or less. So anywhere from a dusting to an inch in Knoxville, Tennessee. But the real hallmark of this system, again, like I've been saying all along, is going to be the cold air. So Knoxville, you're going to be in the mid 40s for tomorrow, and then crashing down into the single digits, if not the teens, going in for highs on Friday, back to 13 degrees. So we're going to go from 44 degrees tomorrow in Knoxville to 13 on Friday. Wind chills will be down below zero, around 5 to 10 degrees below zero in Knoxville on Friday afternoon. Even colder wind chills than that going into Friday night in Knoxville, probably back down to around 20 below in your area. I do expect wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings as we get a little bit closer here towards that time frame. Yeah, this is one of the colder Christmases that I can remember, that's for sure. In recent memory across much of the United States, and it's right on time. If you guys are wanting a white Christmas, this is the type of setup you want for some heavy snow. It's just the harsh cold. We just really don't want that, but unfortunately, we're going to be dealing with those 30 to 40, even 50 below wind chills going through the entirety of this holiday weekend. So do stay safe out there, everybody. And again, I do want to share some tips and tricks for you guys. If you guys do have to go out and venture out, if you do have to travel, especially, again, travel is not advised on Friday or Saturday across portions of Michigan, Wisconsin, and much of the interior, northern Ohio Valley because of those blizzard conditions producing those whiteout conditions. But if you do have to travel, make sure you bring a coat with you, a backup pair of gloves, snow pants, stuff like that, because if you get stranded in a car and you run out of gas, you want some warm clothing to keep yourself warm. You also want to bring a charger with phones out there if you have smartphones, stuff like that, a radio with batteries, a flashlight, a snow shovel if you get stuck as well. Bring some non-perishable food items as well. That could definitely help, again, if you do get stranded out there, to have something to eat until people can come help you. But again, that's just some good advice if you guys do happen to venture out as we go through this upcoming holiday weekend. And again, talking about the wind chills out there, here are some of the products that the local National Weather Services do put out. These are 3 products that you'll see very likely here this weekend across much of the United States with those cold wind chills. You see wind chill advisories, means cold weather is expected, exercise caution. Again, dress in layers, cover up exposed skin so you don't get exposed to frostbite out there. Wind chill watches here, dangerous cold as possible, be prepared again, but wind chill warnings are the worst criteria of these wind chill products. Dangerous cold expected. Plan ahead. Very cold air and strong winds will combine for potentially some frostbite in a matter of minutes outdoors. That could be anywhere from 5 minutes to 10 minutes in these wind chill warnings or less. Limit time outdoors. Dress in plenty of layers and cover up exposed skin, because again, in these wind chill warnings, when these products are put out by the local National Weather Services, they mean you could get frostbite in as little as 5 to 10 minutes or less in these areas. So definitely very, very dangerous situation if you see these wind chill warnings, which I think have already been hoisted across parts of the northern plains. So. But I did want to mention this, guys. If you guys aren't a fan of the cold and you guys aren't a fan of the snow, I got some good news for you. As we turn to the end of December, we're going to go through the long-range weather forecast just a little bit here, and then I'll answer a couple more questions here in just a few minutes. So keep the questions coming in the live chat. Again, if you want to like the live stream down below, press the thumbs up button. We'll try to get closer to 1,000 likes here, guys. So press the like button. It's easy to do. Hit the subscribe button. It's easy to do as well. You get all of my exclusive weather content on this channel, and also the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates. I do videos every single morning for the most part, and they are published around 9 a.m. Central Time. So again, you keep asking the questions down below. I'll get to those here in just a few minutes. But looking here across the western and central United States from December 27th through the 31st, going through the very end of 2022 and the very end of December, it does look like some warmer weather, relatively speaking, will start progressing farther to the east here towards the middle of the country. So closing out the month of December, we'll start to say goodbye to the extreme cold by then after Christmas. And it does look pretty active as well. We have above average precipitation, especially across the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast, around Washington, Oregon, Idaho, back across Nevada, California, and Utah, and then sneaking in across the desert Southwest, we could have above normal precipitation. Great news for the ski resorts out there. Great news as well for a lot of the drought going on in those areas. And then again, above normal precipitation from the Ohio Valley down through the Great Lakes and into the Southeast during that period to end December. And then looking at the first week or so of January, going through January 4th, you see a lot of bright colors on here for above normal temperatures. Doesn't mean we're going to be at 80 degrees by any means, but it does mean we're going to get back to near normal high temperatures for January, or at least early January and late December towards much of the eastern two-thirds of the United States. So what we see now is going to be replaced by some warmer temperatures, relatively speaking, going into the first few days of January through the New Year's timeframe. So a best of both worlds. You're going to have a very cold Christmas across much of the southeast and much of the eastern two-thirds of the country, but then going into New Year's the week after, we're going to be seeing back to near normal, if not above normal, temperatures being favored at that time, with more 40s and 50s potentially being found for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and then going through that first full week in January. Looking at the pattern going into first full week in January as well, looks pretty active. Again, really centered on the West Coast and the Rockies, those ski resorts and those higher elevations. Going to be loving that mountain snow going through the first few days in January. Maybe some rain systems trying to sneak up here with those warmer than average temperatures in the 40s and 50s, getting back across the Tennessee and Ohio valleys, much of the Southeast. We might have to watch some low pressure systems if they start to develop in Texas and move up here similar to this one through the Ohio Valley and the central Great Lakes. We could be talking about some snow on the northwest side of that system getting to early January. And I wanted to talk to you guys about this pattern as well, because it is already looking interesting. So I know I'm going to be touching on this in my video here in the days to come after this system does move by. But it looks like we have just a powerful atmospheric river. We have a strong jet stream in the 250 millibar layer. That's that upper level jet streak across the northeastern Pacific Ocean. And that's going to be moving its way in towards California, Washington, Oregon, and Nevada as we go in towards the end of this month, going to early next week on Tuesday, December 27th. And you can see that it's going to be basically like a fire hose of moisture moving into the West Coast. And you can see all these moisture anomalies showing up here. Those bright pinks, purples, and red shaded colors, that's all the well above average precipitation here showing up across Washington, Oregon State, North Central California, and out west here. And that's really what we're going to see as we get toward the end of December, leading up towards that New Year's Eve and New Year's Day time frame. But then the pattern looks even interesting downstream from that across the middle of the country. So if you guys don't get snow this go around, keep your hopes up, because it does look like we have another favorable pattern where we have that blocking pattern up to the north and east across Greenland. And then we have a trough digging in underneath that high pressure system across portions of the Greenland area. And again, we could lead to another system here with another dip in the jet stream and a system developing somewhere in the southern plains and driving its way up somewhere across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, or the Great Lakes toward the end of this month, going into the first few days into 2023 toward New Year's Day. So there's possibility and growing concern that there could be some type of weather system, another potentially significant storm system going in towards that New Year's time frame. And again, I know that's another holiday itself as well. And again, looking at the GEPS, another ensemble showing a pretty similar thing as well. So the EPS, this is the European ensemble, showing a stronger low pressure system driving its way up towards the upper Mississippi Valley on Saturday, December 31st. And then same thing here in the GEPS model. This is the GFS's ensemble, and you can see the similar path as well, just maybe a little farther north and west. Again, there's going to be track differences this far out. We're about 10 days out from this system potentially, so we'll watch it. But I also wanted to talk to you about La Nina as well, and what we can expect for the rest of winter of 2022 and 2023. So we're in a moderate La Nina, and so if you look on this chart, it looks confusing, but here, if you see the zero value going across the middle of this chart, that's what we call ENSO neutral. The positive values are El Nino, and the negative values are La Nina. So we're in negative value, and we're actually in La Nina. We're at a negative 1.11 right now, which is a moderate La Nina. So every time we get down to negative 1.0 or lower, that's at least a moderate La Nina. And then once we get down to negative 1.5 or lower, that's a strong La Nina. So we're getting close to between a moderate and strong La Nina here right now. And it all has to do with all of these cold temperatures across the equatorial Pacific here, across portions of the coast of South America, all across the equator, just to the south of Hawaii here. You see these sea surface temperature anomalies showing up with these blues and these deeper blues across these areas. And that is really the culprit for the La Nina here. In the reverse to that, if we had oranges down here, that would be an El Nino showing up. So we have the blue showing up. That's that moderate La Nina. And over the past 7 days, the sea surface temperatures over the past 7 days have changed a little bit across these areas. We're seeing kind of a back and forth of the trade winds blowing in some colder waters, some upwellings here into the equatorial Pacific, and then some warmer waters at times with those weaker trade winds. I do expect here this to continue through the next, several weeks. But as we get toward the middle of winter, we're going to kind of be stuck really through, I think, January and February in that moderate to even weak La Nina status. We don't really truly get back to an ENSO neutral until we get, I think, into early spring of 2023 toward that March, April, and May timeframe here. And this is a consolidation of all of the climate weather models that we're looking at. And you can definitely see that it goes back towards zero. And remember, I told you that zero was an ENSO neutral type of criteria. And that's what we get back to, I think, somewhere in this February, March, or April timeframe. So that going into early spring of 2023, and then eventually going potentially into the late spring and summer of 2023, we have it flip. We go back potentially to either ENSO neutral, we continue with that, or we go to a weak El Nino potentially. And even some models are actually a little bit more bullish on this. Some of the climate models are going toward a moderate El Nino going in toward the summer of 2023. Why this is important? Because La Nina brings wetter conditions across the Ohio Valley and much of the Pacific Northwest. You see a very strong push of the Pacific jet stream and that very strong polar jet, and we have the phasing of those systems. That's why we have these strong systems in the eastern 2/3 of the country, because both these jet streams do phase together. You got that subtropical jet from the south, that polar jet stream from the north and west phasing together in the middle of the country, and that's why we see these strong storm systems. We have the drier weather across the south, warmer weather in the southeast, and then the wetter conditions with heavier snows, more cold across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Looking through that time frame, though, that I was talking about, toward the end of this month, from December 27th through January 3rd, there's likely going to be another low pressure system originating somewhere across the central or southern plains, because I did show you that jet stream. We have another trough potentially digging in underneath of that blocking pattern in Greenland, and that's going to set up another low pressure system somewhere across Kansas, Oklahoma, or Texas potentially. And the track, again, is very uncertain. We're still 10 days out, but I do think we could have a similar track to what we see now, where we have that low pressure system moving through the Tennessee Ohio Valley toward the northeast, or up across the Illinois Valley through the central Great Lakes. And on the northwest side of that, we could have some more heavy snow leading up towards that time frame, and then maybe some severe weather or even some heavier rains and storms being found on the southeast side of wherever that low pressure system ends up tracking. But going through January 2023 here, guys, again, I'm going to be highlighting this a little bit more in my videos here in the, the days, weeks, and months to come. But I did want to show you January 2023 is trending warmer. Now, I don't mean it's going to be summertime warmth and we're going to see 80-degree temperatures by any means, but it does trend warmer than average, which means if your average high is 30 degrees in January, 31 degrees is above normal. So that means that just because it says above normal on here does not mean it's going to be a warm January. It just means that, generally speaking, if your average high is 30 degrees, you could have more days in the mid to upper 30s than you would in the teens or 20s with those excessive cold snaps. So we'll continue to watch that. But overall, across much of North America, from Canada, Alaska, all the way south into the lower 48, it looks like a warm January overall, at least warmer than average. And it looks like here, with the precipitation, looks like active weather across especially the Pacific Northwest, all of Western Canada toward British Columbia here. And again, that active jet stream across the northern United States will lead to more snow, more ice events potentially, and again, maybe even some rainfall during this period. Just because, we see warm conditions doesn't mean it's always going to be rain. It just means that we're going to see potentially some rain mixing in at times, some snow at times. So we'll continue to watch that. And again, it looks drier across Texas, across the deep south and the southeast going through the whole month of January. When you average all 31 days out in January, it looks drier across the southern and southeastern United States. Now, moving ahead to February. Now, this is getting interesting. So there's been a signal for quite a while, and I've been looking at these climate models. The CFS, the Climate Forecasting Systems version 2 model, has actually been very bullish on this for several months now. And I've actually been looking at this since, October, September timeframe of 2022. And this is actually concerning again, because it looks like we return that polar vortex back south across the southwestern Canadian provinces and much of the upper Midwest. So you see what we're having this upcoming weekend with all of those below zero high temperatures and those 40 to 50 degrees below zero wind chills. That could happen yet again, I think, as we get into February. We have another polar vortex disruption or even a stratospheric warming event that occurs, takes a few months to move through towards the lower latitudes, and then eventually we see that into the surface and dropping south into the lower 48. We have that positive PNA that a lot of meteorologists have been talking about that is starting to show up across southwestern United States from the Four Corners region and across California. And then that will lead to, again, drier than normal conditions across Texas, Oklahoma, and the desert Southwest, a very active storm track across the Tennessee and Ohio valleys. And going back to show you this, if this polar vortex does occur in February of 2023 and drops far enough south, like we're seeing this weekend, there is a potential we could have a heavier snowfall, a heavier snow event across Tennessee, Kentucky, somewhere across the Tennessee and Ohio Valley, maybe some more ice events farther south across Mississippi, Alabama, into the Carolinas here going into that time frame, and then some very heavy mountain snows across the north central Rockies going through February as well. So that will be something to watch. I also do want to turn your attention to seeing these green anomalies off the northeast coast. There is a potential for a nor'easter, I think, in February. If you have a perfect setup here, you have the cold air moving south and east out of Canada into the northeast, and you have these above normal anomalies, you do wonder that there could be a potential for a nor'easter sometime in February, at least here, averaging the month out here, those 28 days. So we'll continue to watch that. Now, looking at the last month I want to show you is March of 2023, okay? And it looks like it's going to be a repeat of last year where we're going to have a very cold March up to the north, across Canada, across the upper Midwest, and the northern plains with those very cold temperatures across portions of, the Great Lakes region, the Dakotas, much of the southern Canadian provinces from British Columbia to Alberta here, all the way over toward Ontario and Quebec. And again, a hallmark of the La Nina and going back toward ENSO neutral here potentially into March of 2023, we still have a little bit of that positive PNA showing up across the Southwest. But again, we have warmer air across New Mexico into Texas and the Southeast. And again, that will lead to, again, drier than normal conditions in March across portions of the Four Corners region through Texas and the Southeast. Very active March, it looks like here at first glance. Now, we're still a few days, a few months out rather from this, so this could change. This could go back and forth. And again, take this with a grain of salt, but it does look like we're going to see very active across the West Coast, good for the drought and ski resorts, and then a very active pattern across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, the Tennessee Valley, and the Northeast, where we could be talking about heavier snow in March, more ice events, maybe even some severe weather, depending on, if we have warm enough temperatures during that period. So again, take this with a grain of salt, but I did kind of want to show you that long range weather pattern as we get through January, February, and March of 2023. But averaging these 3 months out here, this is an average of 3 months. It does look very cold here across Canada, especially southern Canada into the northern United States around the Great Lakes, the upper Midwest here. When you average January, February, March of 2023 out here, the first quarter of the year of 2023, it does look very active across those areas with the cold air and some of these polar vortex disruptions and stratospheric warming events. And then again, that positive PNA will be very dominant across the Pacific Southwest and the Southern Plains going through those first 3 months here, averaging those months out. And then precipitation-wise, looks very active across southern Canada, the Rockies, getting back across the Ohio Valley and the upper Midwest. So if you miss out the snowfall on this system, keep your hopes up, because we do have a lot of active months ahead, I do think, especially as we get into February and March for more snow events, heavier snow events, and potentially some ice events as well, going ahead towards especially that February and March timeframe across the north central United States. And then the southern United States from the Four Corners region through Texas and the Southeast, generally averaging those 3 months out, will be drier than normal with that classic ENSO neutral to La Nina type of pattern going through March of 2023. So I did want to show you that here as well. So I'm taking your questions. If you guys want to ask questions about the long range weather pattern, you guys can ask questions about that. I'll be answering those. If you guys have specific questions about our snowstorm coming up and our blizzard this weekend, you guys can ask questions about that. And also here, the extreme cold as well. You guys can ask about that as well. Gaming with Eli says, hi, weather on the go. Hello. Good evening to you. It's 6:10 now here, Central Time. I'm in the Central Time Zone, so thank you for joining. How about Arizona? Are you talking about long range? You're going to have to, Macy, you're going to have to, be more specific. Are you talking about the long range pattern, or are you talking about this snow event? Because if you're talking about the snow event, you're not going to get any snow in Arizona. Wolf says North Carolina in the house. Well, there you go. Here, North Carolina. Thanks for joining here the live stream. Definitely appreciate it. Guys, if you guys are enjoying this live stream, hit the like button down below, the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you guys are new. Every one of you guys right now, hit the like button and the subscription button down below. It's free to do, and you guys get all of my daily weather forecast updates. Appreciate it. Again, I apologize if I'm skipping over your questions. There's so many questions coming in, guys. Yeah, Wolf says, heck yeah. Well, thank you for joining from North Carolina. Definitely appreciate it. Alabama here, and I despise winter. Well, there you go. You live in the right state for that. You live in Alabama, so I don't think you have to worry too much about the extreme cold, at least the extreme 50 below zero temperatures. But if you go back into portions here of Alabama going into just a moment here. Going into the day on Friday, it's still going to be pretty cold. These are your high temperatures in Alabama, around the teens to mid-20s. So if you live in Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, down there toward Mobile, Alabama, you're going to be in the teens and 20s. Excuse me. Going through the day here on Friday, And it looks like Friday afternoon, those wind chill values will be dropping back to the single digits to teens there in Alabama. So definitely a very, very cold weekend ahead for you guys, especially in Alabama, even for your standards down there. I mean, single digits is pretty cold. Adam says snow for Detroit. Yes, heavy snowfall for Detroit. Here are the snowfall accumulations for your area. It looks like about a good 5 to 8 inches is a good bet for Detroit. If you look at this model, which is the NAM model, if you look at this model again, another 5 to 8 inches. There could be a localized foot of snow in Detroit, just depending on how much snow we do get from this. But I think a good benchmark for this system would be about 5 to 8 inches in Detroit, locally up to 12 inches in Detroit. So locally up to a foot is possible. So getting the snow blowers out there. And again, a lot of the snow in Detroit's going to be blowing around as well. You're right in the heart of this blizzard. You're going to be seeing winds whipping around on Friday out of the west-northwest at 20 to 30 miles per hour sustained, blowing all this dry, powdery snow around. And again, those wind gusts are going to continue through the day on Saturday. That could be over 50 and 60 miles per hour in spots, especially across the heart of the Great Lakes going through this weekend on Christmas Eve. John Limke says, lots of snow and some blowing snow in the two states. Glad to be home, but the roads were pretty decent. Yes, definitely probably pretty decent for the time being, but things will be deteriorating with the blizzard-like conditions here in the next couple of days, that's for sure. Robert says, how about snow in the snowfall forecast in Columbus, Ohio? Like I said before, Columbus, Ohio, it looks like about 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for you. Again, just enough to break out the shovels and snow blowers. Again, take it easy out there. It will be a dry, fluffy snow, but it's going to be very, very windy into Ohio there with winds sustained out of the west and west-northwest at 20 to 30 miles per hour with gusts over 50 miles per hour through the day on Friday and going into Saturday as well. Winds will still be howling out of the west as well, between 20 and 30 miles per hour at times and gusts up to 50 miles per hour. So definitely some very strong winds. Leanna Birch says, North Carolina, yes, you're going to be seeing some potentially a couple of flurries. Other than that, that's mainly across the western Carolinas, heavier snow, and really all the snow will be well to your north. It's mainly the cold air for you in North Carolina. You can see in North Carolina on Thursday, temperatures will be in the 40s and 50s, and then dropping back into the teens and 20s in North Carolina around the Raleigh area, back west into the western Carolina regions toward Asheville, getting back toward Knoxville, Tennessee. We could be talking about those, those teens and 20s over in those areas. Factoring in the wind chills, we could be near zero in toward the Asheville area there. And then into Raleigh, we could be talking about those wind chills back into the middle teens on Friday afternoon there in North Carolina. Lonnie says South Central Virginia. South Central Virginia, snow-wise, it does look like you're going to see mainly nothing, to be quite honest with you. Maybe a few flurries from this system in South Central Virginia itself. The cold air, again, is going to win out. We're going to have 30s and 40s for the day for highs on Thursday. And then going into Friday, we're going to be crashing temperatures back down into the teens and single digits there across South Central Virginia. Wind chills will be down below zero to about 5 below as we get into Friday afternoon. Even colder temperatures for wind chills than that going into Friday night there in South Central Virginia. That is for sure. Again, if you guys are just joining the live stream, we're talking about the breakdown between the major winter storm, blizzard conditions. We're talking about the cold weather on the backside of this system. We did go over the long-range weather forecast as well. If you guys want to ask questions about that, I'm open to answering those. So thank you guys so much. Macy says, will there be states of emergency declared with the storm since being compared as Cat 2? There could be. If that does occur, it'll probably be across areas that get blizzard conditions. So like probably Michigan, maybe even Wisconsin. But I don't know if it's going to be necessarily a state of emergency being declared. They may just need help clearing the roads here, more plow truck drivers and stuff like that. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Ronnie Madden says Southern Indiana. Southern Indiana, it's going to be very cold and quite a bit of snow down there for you guys. Southern Indiana, I think about 1 to 3 inches of snow is a good bet for you. Again, it doesn't matter how much snow you get, still going to be blowing around in a big way. You got these very strong winds in the backside of the system there, down toward Evansville, the south side there of Indianapolis. Winds will be out of the west northwest here at 20 to 30 miles an hour. Gusts could be up over 50 miles per hour, blowing that powdery, dry snow around. And again, that cold air is going to be coming in with a vengeance going through the day on Thursday with an Arctic front. We'll be at 40 degrees there in Indianapolis, and look off to the west with those below zero high temperatures on Thursday tomorrow across Iowa. That'll be crashing in through the day on Friday. We'll see highs right around 0 degrees in southern Indiana on Friday and wind chills down to near 20 to 25 below going into Friday afternoon and Friday night, potentially even down to 30, 40 below as we get into early Saturday morning across south central Indiana. So do take it easy out there and bundle up if you have to go outside. RJ says southeast Wisconsin snow amount. Snow amounts here in southeastern Wisconsin. It looks like a good 3 to 6 inches across portions of southeast Wisconsin. If you're talking about Milwaukee, Racine, Wisconsin, getting back over there toward Waukegan, Illinois, about 3 to 6 inches of snow. Maybe localized higher amounts if you're closer to the lake there, up toward Green Bay or Milwaukee, Racine. We could be seeing localized amounts over 6 inches. But again, we're going to be seeing those winds howling on the backside of the system, creating those blizzard-like conditions with those very tight isobars on the backside of this low pressure system here. And then again, that cold air will be crashing in behind that. Southeastern Wisconsin will see wind chills tomorrow into the single digits. And then high temperatures in southeast Wisconsin on Friday near 0 with wind chills down to near 30 below from Milwaukee back toward Madison, Wisconsin and Racine, Wisconsin going through the day on Friday and Friday afternoon. So, and even colder wind chills than that Friday night, could be approaching 40 below in southeast Wisconsin going into Friday night and Saturday morning. So do bundle up if you have to venture outdoors. Roxy says, liked and subscribed. Thank you so much for liking and subscribing. You said Boise, Idaho. Boise, Idaho. Not much snow for you with this system. It's moving through now. But again, those higher elevation snows into Boise, Idaho, we could be talking about maybe 1 to 3 inches of snow potentially there through the next couple of days, especially those higher elevations. The winds will be well off to your east, but it does look like on tomorrow into Boise, Idaho, single-digit high temperatures, wind chills down near 0. And then going through Friday, we could have those teens for highs across the Boise, Idaho area on Friday, wind chills down into the single digits. So some pretty cold temperatures, but it does look like the coldest core of this, the cold temperatures will be farther off to the east across the Midwest, the Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley, further off to the east from Boise, Idaho, that's for sure. Again, thank you guys. You guys have a lot of great questions here today. I'm happy to answer all these questions. Appreciate it. Michael says Tampa, Florida. Tampa, Florida is not going to see any snow well too far south, but this Arctic front is going to be the hallmark of what we see down here into Florida. Tampa Bay, Florida, we're going to see highs around 60 to 70 or so on Thursday tomorrow. Temperatures crashing back into the upper 50s here into Tampa as we head into Friday. Wind chill values going into Friday night in Tampa will be probably down into the 40s and 50s. Christmas Day in Tampa, Florida will be in the 40s. We'll be around 40 degrees for a high temperature on Christmas Day in Tampa, Florida. Definitely very cold. Wind chills will be down in the mid 30s in Tampa. Very cold up there as well. Johnson says Georgia. Yes, very cold in Georgia. No snow in Georgia. It's mainly rain, if anything, from the system at all. Be in the mid 40s for Georgia. If you're around Atlanta, it'll be about 45 tomorrow for a high. Friday will be crashing back to around 20 degrees. Wind chills into the single digits there, around 6 or 5 degrees above zero in Atlanta going into the day on Friday. Christmas high temperatures there in Atlanta around 30 degrees, so around freezing or so in Atlanta there on Sunday. Wind chills will be back down to the low 20s going into Sunday afternoon and Sunday night on Christmas Day. Again, guys, keep hitting that like button down below. The like button, again, it helps get all of this weather information out to more and more people so they can ask questions here on this channel. We also have the subscribe button down below. You guys can subscribe to get all of my daily weather forecast updates here on this channel. I publish a video every single morning. I just published one this morning around 9 a.m. You guys can go check that out here. Details a lot of this major winter storm and the cold and the long range forecast going into next week as well toward New Year's. So you guys can go check that video out and hit the notification bell on your way out as well if you guys are leaving. So thank you so much. Donkey says, how much snow for Kansas City? Kansas City is going to see anywhere from, it looks like about 1 to 2 inches in Kansas City is a good bet. Heavier snow well off to your north and east through Iowa, Wisconsin, and Michigan. But again, even though you see an inch of snow, could still be blown around with some of these gustier winds in Kansas City out of the west-northwest at 20 to 30 miles an hour, and gusts that could be higher than that. The stronger winds will move to your east on Saturday. And then again, Kansas City tomorrow, high temperatures around 0 in Kansas City tomorrow. Wind chills down to near 25 below tomorrow afternoon. And then Friday, highs near 4 degrees in Kansas City and wind chills dropping back to near 20 below again going into the day on Friday. And then again, those wind chill values going into Sunday will be down near around 15 with your high temperature around 21 in Kansas City on Christmas Day itself. Tony, Dixon, Illinois, snow amount. Dixon, Illinois, I know where that is very well. I live very close to there, actually. Let's see. Snow amount in Dixon, Illinois. Looks like about 1 to 3 inches is a good bet for Dixon, Illinois. Higher amounts possible. We could have up to 4 inches potentially in Dixon, Illinois. So a good shovelable and plowable snow for you guys. Winds will be whipping around there across northern Illinois. So we could be seeing those blizzard-like conditions if you live around Dixon, Rockford, up there towards Chicago. Winds will be out of the west-northwest at 20 to 30 miles per hour. Gusts up to 50 miles per hour through the day on Friday. And again, going into Saturday, very windy on Christmas Eve across northern Illinois, and looks like some very heavy snow off to the northeast of you guys in northern Illinois. But the cold, it's going to be cold in northern Illinois. Single-digit high temperatures there on Thursday. We might see morning highs in the 30s with temperatures crashing in the afternoon in northern and central Illinois up toward Dixon, Rockford there, Davenport, Iowa, and then getting over towards Chicago. Wind chills will be down to about 10, 15 below tomorrow afternoon and towards the Dixon area, and then Friday, below 0 high temperatures, about -3 on Friday, northern Illinois for highs. Wind chills all day on Friday, down to near 30 below with those strong winds in the Dixon, Illinois area. And then Christmas Day looks like highs in the single digits in northern Illinois with wind chills back below 0 again to -5 to -15 degrees. So very cold around your area. You're very welcome, Tony. Thank you very much. Again, I live very close to Dixon, so thank you so much for asking. How much snow for Cincinnati? It looks like a good snow for Cincinnati is going to be in the cards. I think about 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for Cincinnati. So if you live there, 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for you. Again, very strong winds on the backside, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. We could be seeing gusts up to 50 to 60 miles per hour with the system on Friday and again on Saturday. So we'll watch that. Radio Man says anything for Tulsa. Again, if you guys have not had your questions answered, just ask the questions again. I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm trying to get to everybody's questions on here. A lot of questions coming in. Tulsa, Oklahoma, rather. My bad. Tulsa, Oklahoma, we could be seeing anywhere from about an inch of snow to inch to an inch and a half, potentially heavier snow to the northeast in Missouri and Illinois. But it looks very windy across, especially Kansas and Missouri. But Tulsa, you're going to be near 8 degrees for your high tomorrow in Tulsa for Thursday. Wind chills down to near 10 to 12 below in Tulsa on Thursday. 14 degrees is your high down in Tulsa on Friday, and wind chills down near 0. So very cold. And looking ahead to the day on Christmas Day itself, around 32 degrees for the high or so on Tulsa on Christmas Day, and wind chills will be down into the mid-20s, around 25 or 26 degrees in the Oklahoma City to Tulsa, Oklahoma, Norman, Oklahoma area. So we'll watch that. Let's see. Noah D says Southern Ontario. Also, how do the Great Lakes affect this kind of weather? Ontario is going to see the brunt of the storm system, the heaviest snow. It looks like central and western Ontario. You guys are in line for 2 to 3 feet worth of snow. It does look like also some very strong winds on the backside of the system, blowing that dry, fluffy snow around. Could be up to around 20 to 30 miles an hour, especially farther south of Ontario, getting into the upper Great Lakes into the United States side of things. But looking here of why the Great Lakes here is affecting the snow is because you have this really cold negative temperatures moving over the relatively warmer lake waters. So you can imagine if the lake water temperatures are in the 20s and 30s here, that you get the temperatures that are, those wind chills at 30 below moving over those, lake waters. You create instability, you create cloud cover, and then eventually you get lake effect snow from that. And that will be enhanced, especially into western Michigan as well. We could be talking about up to 2 foot snowfall somewhere across western Michigan, the UP of Michigan, and then again, 2 to 3 foot snow there into central Ontario going through the day on Friday into Saturday, and even continuing with some lingering snow there even into Sunday. So it looks like a full 2 days worth of snow there into central Ontario. Leanna says Trap Hill, North Carolina. Again, we're not looking at snowfall there for North Carolina. It's just the cold weather. We're going to see high temperatures going to the day on Thursday in the 40s and 50s, and then dropping back into the 20s and teens, especially toward the Raleigh area on points west toward Asheville, North Carolina, as we get in towards the day on Friday. Lincoln, Nebraska. Lincoln, Nebraska. Your snowfall, it looks like about 1 to 3 inches is a good bet for you in Lincoln, Nebraska. Lighter snow event for you. Again, maybe if you this model verifies maybe 4 inches. That is the highest end of what I think could happen in Lincoln, Nebraska for snow amounts. Looking at the cold, it looks very cold into Lincoln, Nebraska tomorrow. We'll have high temperatures tomorrow afternoon, around 9 to 10 degrees below zero. Wind chills will be down to around 35, if not 40 degrees below zero in Lincoln, Nebraska. So do bundle up and stay indoors tomorrow if you live there. I do imagine there's wind chill advisories and wind chill warnings across those areas. And then it looks like as we head into the day on Friday, high temperatures in Nebraska around, either side of zero, above or below zero, with wind chills around 20 to 30 below again on Friday. And then going into Christmas Day in Lincoln, Nebraska, could be around 20 to 25 degrees for highs, and wind chills back down into the single digits. So that's what we see there in Lincoln, Nebraska. So hopefully that answers your question out there. Yeah, Joshua and Paul, Cincinnati, Ohio, 3 to 6 inches worth of snow. So it looks like 3 to 6 inches of snow there in Cincinnati, Ohio is a good bet. So some plowable snow in your area, and also some very strong winds blowing that snow around, blizzard-like conditions. Travel is highly not advised on Friday, especially, and even going into Christmas Eve morning. Let those cleanup crews clean up those roadways across those areas with that 3 to 6 inches of snow blowing across those roads. Again, it's going to be that dry, powdery snow. And then going into Cincinnati, we're going to see highs around 38 degrees there in Cincinnati on Thursday tomorrow. Dropping back here on Friday, we could have temperatures near zero in Cincinnati for Friday afternoon, with wind chills down near 25 below zero. So some very cold temperatures there Friday afternoon. And wind chills potentially down to near 35 below, if not 40 below in Cincinnati going into Friday night and Saturday morning on Christmas Eve morning itself. Yeah, snow for Madison, Wisconsin. Looks like for Madison, Wisconsin, you guys are going to see some heavy snow. Looks like a good 5 to 8 inches of snow is on the way for you in Madison, Wisconsin. So again, a good plowable snow event for you guys there. That's really across the entirety of the state of Wisconsin. The farther north you go in Wisconsin, the heavier the snow amounts will be. So if you start here in Madison, Wisconsin, around 5 to 8 inches of snow, you work your way up there toward the Wisconsin Dells there and towards Stevens Point, you can see around 6 to 10 inches. And then farther to the north here toward Rhinelander and then Duluth, Minnesota, that's where we could see over a foot of snow, potentially approaching 2 feet as we get through this weekend. So very heavy snow there. But yeah, Madison, Wisconsin, about 5 to 8 inches of snow. Very strong winds on the backside of the storm, 20 to 30 miles per hour on the west-northwest. Gusts over 50 miles per hour here. And then crashing temperatures behind that. Madison, Wisconsin crashing to the single digits on Thursday afternoon. Wind chills by Thursday afternoon crashing to near 20 below. And then Friday, high temperatures in Madison around 0. And then wind chills back down to near 30 below 0 in Madison, Wisconsin into the afternoon on Friday. Wind chills could drop even colder going into Christmas Eve. Saturday morning, you wake up in Madison, Wisconsin. Wind chills could be down near 40 degrees below 0. So do bundle up if you have to go outside. That is highly advised, guys. Wesley Duncan says, is there snow expected for upper eastern Tennessee? Yes, it looks like eastern Tennessee, there's a little bit of snow potential on the way. It looks like maybe about an inch or less. So if you live in Crossville or Knoxville or somewhere around there, a good inch of snow or less is possible. And then again, looking at the cold is going to be the big story for Tennessee again. Looks like high temperatures in the 40s in Tennessee on Thursday, dropping back into the teens and single digits on Friday. Wind chills below 0 in most of Tennessee, and especially middle and eastern Tennessee, from Nashville on eastward toward Knoxville going into the Friday afternoon. Wind chills down to near -5 to -10 at that point. Jack Wilbur says, what about Illinois? Are you talking about the snow or the cold? If you're talking about the snow, Illinois is going to average some moderate snow accumulations, mainly anywhere from about 2 to 4 inches across, if averaging out the state, I'd say about 2 to 4 inches. Heavier amounts in far northern Illinois, near the Wisconsin state line, so like Rockford, Illinois, over toward Dubuque, Iowa, the northern suburbs there of Chicago. Lighter amounts farther south, so if you got down there towards Springfield, Quincy, getting down there towards Carbondale, and even the Champaign, Urbana area, you're going to see averaging around 1 to 3 inches. And again, very strong winds. Even though you see 1 to 3 inches of snow there still could be some very heavy snow amounts heavy wind that could be blowing that snow around here across those areas. And then the cold on the backside and through Illinois, highs averaging around 0 through the state on Illinois on Friday. Wind chills averaging around 25 below on Friday afternoon in Illinois. Thank you guys so much for joining this evening. Definitely appreciate all the likes out there, all the new subscribers, and again, all the people being interactive here in the live chat. I'm trying to get through all the questions I can, guys. I can't promise I can get through every single question, but again, I'm trying my best, so bear with me here, guys, and I promise I will answer as many questions as possible going through this live stream here. But if you've already asked the question and I missed it, just ask it again, and hopefully I can answer it here, in the minutes here, in the minutes ahead. So, Georgia's going to see some cold weather. Not going to be snow for you, just some cold weather. Again, Friday, temperatures in Georgia, if you're around the Atlanta area, around 20 degrees. Wind chills will be down in the single digits on Friday. Christmas Day, around freezing, around 32 degrees in Atlanta on Christmas Day. Wind chills dropping down to around the mid-20s at that point. So, great question. Liz Garner says, South Mississippi, Southern Mississippi, you're not going to see any snowfall, but it's going to be very cold. It's going to be, like I said, weather whiplash for you guys in Southern Mississippi going into the day on Thursday into Friday. Southern Mississippi, so around the Hattiesburg area, getting south of Jackson, Mississippi, we're going to be in the upper 50s to near 60 on Thursday, crashing down on Friday from the mid to upper 50s and around 60 back to the teens and 20s in Southern Mississippi, all the way, yes, to the Gulf Coast in Southern Mississippi in the upper 20s on Friday. Wind chills to the Gulf Coast down to near 20, if not 15 degrees above 0. So some very cold weather there going into that time frame. Dylan says, Lansing, Michigan, please and thanks. Lansing, Michigan, you're going to see the brunt of a lot of heavy snow up here. We're going to be talking about snowfall amounts averaging around 8 to 12 inches in Lansing, Michigan. So some very heavy snow there. Maybe some localized higher amounts across western Michigan, maybe just to the west of you. And then again, those very strong winds creating those whiteout conditions with those, winds rushing in from the west-northwest at 20 to 30 miles per hour there. Gusts could be higher than 50 miles per hour, and going through the day on Saturday there as well. Cold air will be rushing in Lansing. We have mid-30s tomorrow for highs. Friday we have high temperatures there in the single digits in Lansing, and then wind chills crashing down to near 15 to 20 below as we get into Friday afternoon and Friday night. Christmas Day looks like 17 to 18 degrees there in Lansing, Michigan, with wind chills back down to near zero as we get into the Christmas Day itself. So that's that's kind of your forecast there for Lansing, Michigan. Joanne says Mansfield, Ohio, some heavier snow there. Looks like about 3 to 6 inches is coming for Mansfield, Ohio area. And it also looks like some cold temperatures. Again, Ohio, Thursday afternoon, 30s, dropping back on Friday here into the near zero. And then wind chills will be down below 20 below to about 25 below on average Friday afternoon and Friday night across the Mansfield, Ohio area. What is the snow amount expected in Kentucky? Looks like here... Again, I don't mean to sound repetitive, guys, just trying to answer all these questions here. A lot of people have the same questions, so I'm trying to narrow it down. In Kentucky, I was going to say Mansfield, Ohio, but I already answered that question. Kentucky, looks like about 1 to 3 inches in most of Kentucky there. Northern Kentucky, closer to 3 inches. Southern Kentucky, closer to an inch. And again, those strong winds on the backside of the system will be blowing that around. Very cold temperatures here going into the day on Friday and into the weekend. Ace Toxic says, will any snow hit New Jersey, New York? Well, probably not with this system. It looks like the track of this system here is going to take more of a track here to the north and west of you, which means the stronger part of the low pressure system will move northwest of you, which means the warmer temperatures will move north, providing liquid precipitation for your area with all rain, maybe some rumbles of thunder at times, especially with a strong Arctic front moving through, maybe a dusting of snow on the backside, but nothing shovelable for your area in New York City or New Jersey. I'm not expecting any plowable snows or anything out of this system going into Christmas Day itself. How much snow for Oil City, Pennsylvania? Looks like about, let's see here, without guessing. I don't want to guess. I know it looks like about 4 to 8 inches. About 4 to 8 inches is a good bet there across Oil City, Pennsylvania, down there toward the Pittsburgh area. So you guys be shoveling and snow blowing that here this weekend. Good plowable snow for your area. And then the cold air rushing in on the backside of this system. Widmer says, what about Rhode Island? Looks like mainly rain for Rhode Island, maybe a light dusting of snow on the backside of the system. Nothing worth mentioning too much. It's just going to be the cold air on the backside of the storm and some very strong winds as well, with definitely that cold air moving in from west to east across these areas. Wind chills in Rhode Island will be back down to the 30s going into the day on Friday. Christmas Day in Rhode Island will be even colder. We'll be seeing highs in the mid-20s and wind chills there in the single digits and teens across Rhode Island, Connecticut, and Massachusetts, including Cape Cod and Long Island there in New York, going into Sunday, Christmas Day itself. If you haven't already, again, I know I've asked you several times, guys, but thank you so much for liking the live stream down below, getting this information out to more and more people. If you guys are new to the channel and have just discovered my live stream, hit the like button down below. We're trying to get up to 1,000 likes, guys. So let's try and get up here to first. Let's try and get to 500 likes here in the next few minutes. If you guys can press the like button down below. And also here, hit the subscribe button to get all of my daily weather forecast updates. It's free to do when you guys are in. You get all of my weather videos and live streams here if you hit the subscribe button down below. And also, you guys can hit the notification bell to make sure you guys get all of my live streams and videos in the days, weeks, and months and years to come. So thank you so much. Platinum says, love your channel. Martin Speaks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for saying those kind words. Thank you for liking the channel. Atlanta, Georgia, again, very cold. No snow for you, but again, Christmas Day for Atlanta, it's going to be, let's see. Well, Atlanta on Friday is going to be cold, around 20 degrees. Wind chills down in the single digits to near 5 degrees in Atlanta on Friday. Christmas Day around freezing, around 32 degrees in Atlanta, with wind chills back down into the low and mid 20s, around 23, 24 degrees in Atlanta on Sunday, Christmas Day. West Virginia looks like some decent snows for you, about 3 to 6 inches. Localized higher amounts in the upper elevations of the Appalachian chain there, and again, very cold air going into the day on Thursday, going into Friday. Friday, we're going to be crashing into the single digits, around 5 to 7 degrees in West Virginia. Wind chills will be down to about -15. Christmas Day, around 20 degrees on average, maybe some upper teens there into West Virginia on Christmas Day. Wind chills down to near zero and the single digits above zero in West Virginia going into Christmas Day after, during the afternoon and evening as well. John says the snow isn't fully what's dangerous with the storm. The main dangerous comes from the winds and the yes, it's mainly the flash freeze. If you guys know what a flash freeze is where you get a little bit of rainfall, and I'm kind of concerned about that. I might talk about that a little bit in my video here tomorrow morning. Is where you see these temperatures on Thursday up across the Tennessee Valley, where we have the rainfall falling ahead of the system in the 40s. We got that chilly rain, and then we have temperatures crashing down on Friday back into the single digits here, and with wind chills below zero, that's a flash freeze. We could have the rainfall, and any water that's standing on the roadways or anywhere will freeze very quickly, turning to ice. So that's what we call the flash freeze as we go into the day on Friday and going through the upcoming weekend. Again, guys, thanks so much for all the new subscribers out there. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. Thanks for liking the live stream, getting all this information out to more and more people, hitting the notification bell, guys. Thanks so much. Again, let's try and get to 500 likes here in the next few minutes. Our ultimate goal is to get up to around 1,000 likes here on this live stream. So, guys, if you guys want to press the like button down below, if you enjoy these live streams, I'll be doing more of these in the future. I'm actually going to be doing 1 to 2 live streams per week starting next week, I do believe. I haven't figured out the days yet, but I'll get back to you on that on my community tab on my weather channel here on YouTube. I'll get back to you on that, on what days I'll be doing that coming up next week. So you guys can look forward to probably about 1 to 2 live streams per week starting next week here. Just kind of going over the long range weather forecast and stuff like that. Again, if you guys just missed it here, looking toward the end of December, it looks a little bit warmer across the western and central United States, relatively speaking here, relative to your average high temperature. And then again, very active toward the end of December. If you guys missed out on the snow with this go around, we could be seeing some snowfall potentially towards the end of December. We got this fire hose of moisture coming across the western United States with this very strong and dynamic mid to upper level jet moving in south of the Aleutian Islands into the west coast here from Washington, Oregon, California, into the portions of Nevada here. And again, that could translate to some heavy precipitation, whether it's heavy rain or heavy snow across the west coast and the Pacific Northwest, Portland, Oregon, up there towards Seattle, all the way down here towards northern central California. We'll be seeing those higher elevation snows and rain. Probably some pretty heavy snow across the Sierra Nevadas would be a good bet with this setup here. We could see feet of snowfall potentially at the end of the month of December going in through the first week in January, probably across the Sierra Nevada. So definitely some good news to replenish that moisture supply in those areas, that is for sure. And then again, we have that blocking pattern up to the north and east, setting up that trough underneath, potentially going into that New Year's Eve, New Year's Day time frame. And that's where we could see maybe another low pressure system taking a similar track to this one going in towards that New Year's time frame. Again, very uncertain on what the impacts will be with this system, but we'll continue to track it in the days and weeks to come. So I know new model data is coming out, so let me check through that real quick here while I'm on the live stream to see if any other data is coming in to see what is going on. Looks like the new HRRR came out a little bit ago here. Let's go back to see how far we can get with the 21Z. Probably the 18Z. Yeah, it looks like the 18Z here. Again, here's if you're looking across the upper Midwest, it looks like this evening we'll see that heavy snow shields start to take over places like Green Bay, Madison, Wisconsin, getting down here through central Iowa towards Des Moines, back toward Kansas City going into this evening. And then that will spread its way quickly to the east, again, producing a heavy swath of snow from Wisconsin, and then some heavy snow rates getting into Illinois, a big burst of snow all the way through portions like Jefferson City, St. Louis, Springfield, Missouri there, getting into Springfield, Illinois, Joplin, Missouri, and then getting back toward Tulsa, Oklahoma City. A quick shot of snow for you. That'll move its way on through. And it looks like the new HRRR. Let's see what it's showing for snowfall amounts. Okay, so it has upped the snowfall, guys, a little bit. So remember when I told you Northern Illinois was going to see 1 to 3 inches? The HRRR anyway has upped it from the latest run from 1 to 3 back to about 2 to 5 inches here, and I think that does go along with the NWS Chicago of what they're thinking. I think 2 to 5 inches here in the National Weather Service in Chicago was putting out in their products with those winter storm warnings. I do expect those blizzard warnings to expand because of the very strong winds with the system. And then again, farther off to the east, you can see the heavier snow up to the north across portions of the upper Great Lakes here toward Lake Superior. We could be talking about some feet of snow, and then the brunt of the snowfall will be falling across central Ontario during this period. Johnson City, Tennessee here. Well, thanks for joining from Johnson City, Tennessee. Definitely appreciate you joining the live stream. Thanks so much. Um, no, I'm not 31. I'm 22. I actually have to change my about page on my YouTube page. It says I'm 21. I'm actually 22 now. I'm not 31. No, I'm 22 years old. I would turn 22 in November. Yeah, I hope to have a future in professional weather. I am really, I love the weather. I used to live in Naples, Florida, believe it or not. In Naples, Florida, that's in southwest Florida, about an hour or hour and a half south of Tampa. And there's a lot of hurricanes down there that I went through, and kind of interested in the weather from that. So kind of brought me into this. Yeah, I sound like I'm professional, like I'm 50 years old and I already got it down, huh? Well, I'm still learning as I go. I taught myself mostly, but hey, you never know. If you have a passion about weather, and the ceiling is as high as can be. You can, it's such a high ceiling, guys. If you teach yourself about the weather and you sit down and you research a lot of weather events, severe weather outbreaks and ice storms and snowstorms and just the weather pattern, and get used to the terminology, then you really start to understand the weather patterns more here. And that's what I try and do on my weather videos. Is I know a lot of people don't like scientific language, and what's this guy talking about with the troughs and the ridges, and I try not to. I try to put it in layman's terms for you guys as well as scientific terms, because I also like the scientific part of it and kind of showing you the breakdown of the how the weather's acting above our heads in the mid and upper levels. But I also like showing you guys what why it's happening as well, so that's why I do it. Musical says great idea. Well, thank you so much. South Carolina, CJ says, South Carolina, you're not going to see any snowfall here from this system. See, you're not going to see too much of the way of snow. It's just can you guys also see this graphic? Actually, I should probably change it here. Let's change it to tropical tidbits to show you this. Let me switch this to the southeast. And you can see South Carolina going through the day. Tomorrow, you can see that front moving through, very sharp front across the southeastern United States. South Carolina in particular, around Myrtle Beach to Charleston to Columbia here, Sparta. These areas will be in the 50s, or at least low 50s going through the day tomorrow. Crashing back on Friday, high temperatures will be around freezing there in central and western portions of South Carolina, getting even colder up into North Carolina there, according to the GFS. And then again, we'll stick around with all that cold air, and then a nice surge with that warm up I was talking about towards the end of the month, toward New Year's, with some 50s and 60s returning across your area, getting towards that New Year's Eve and New Year's Day timeframe. JP says, Eastern Shore of Maryland here. Hello. Well, thank you so much for joining from the Eastern Shore of Maryland. Definitely appreciate it. Thanks for joining the live stream here this evening. Again, guys, if you guys have not pressed the like button, or you're new to the live stream here, just joining, hit the like button down below if you enjoy this live weather forecast for you guys, just kind of answering questions and a lot of the long-range weather forecast information on this live stream. I try to do these live streams once or twice a week. I'll be starting to do that here next week. Again, I'll tell you in my community tab on my YouTube channel when I'll be doing, like what days I'll be doing that, and maybe what time and stuff like that. But again, thank you guys so much for pressing the like button. Thanks to all the new subscribers out there. You guys rock. Again, you guys are an amazing audience. Appreciate you guys. I hope everybody has a great and great weekend, safe weekend, and a Merry Christmas. Thank you guys so much for joining. But yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing this cold here. I'll just kind of, zoom it out for you guys to see how, to show you how cold this really is. Um, and just look at these temperatures, guys. These are the temperature anomalies, and again, this is just showing you how cold. The colder colors on here do represent those colder air moving in. And again, look at how far south that Arctic front gets by the time we get into Thursday night here. And again, it goes all the way to the Gulf Coast. In northern Mexico, it could even be below freezing as well in some spots, potentially as far south there as Brownsville, Texas, and the far southern side of Texas there, getting down here towards portions of Miami and even the Key West areas. We could be talking about some very cold temperatures there as well. Mike Griffiths says, I'm from Bradford, Pennsylvania, and would like to know how much snow to look for. All right, guys, so let me go back to my slides here again. How much snow to look for in Pennsylvania? It looks like in Pennsylvania and Bradford. Here, let me look where Bradford is because it might be in eastern Pennsylvania, and I don't want to give you the wrong accumulations for snowfall if you are. So just give me one moment, guys. Bradford, does it say Bradford? Yeah, Bradford, Pennsylvania. Bradford, Pennsylvania. Okay, so you're just northeast there of Pittsburgh. So you're in western Pennsylvania, northwestern Pennsylvania. Yeah, it looks like about 4 to 8 inches. 4 to 8 inches is a good bet for you. A quick shot of some 4 to 8 inches of snow, plowable snow for you. And again, it does look like some strong winds on the backside. So watch out with some strong winds on the backside of this low pressure system for some blizzard conditions in your area. And again, those cold, crashing temperatures on Friday. High temperatures in your area will be around 5 degrees there, and then dropping with those wind chills near 20 below there going into the Friday. And then Christmas Day itself, high temperatures in the mid-teens with wind chills down near 0 in the Bradford, Pennsylvania area going into that Sunday time frame on Christmas Day. You're very welcome, Mike. Thanks for asking. Jordy says, what about Tennessee? Tennessee's not going to see much snowfall, but it will see potentially, maybe up to an inch of snow. If you live into Nashville, Crossville, Murfreesboro, or maybe even over towards, Chattanooga or Knoxville, maybe up to an inch of snow at most. Most of these areas will probably see, just a dusting to half an inch. But again, maximizing the snowfall in Tennessee will be up to around an inch. And then the stronger winds on the backside of the storm. And then again, it's all about the cold air. Middle Tennessee here, we'll be seeing around 50 degrees for highs tomorrow. And then dropping back with that strong Arctic front, we're going to be going from 50 degrees in Nashville, Tennessee on Thursday tomorrow. So near 50 on Thursday tomorrow for highs, back to 12 degrees on Friday with wind chills back to near 5 to even 10 degrees below 0 on Nashville going into the day on Friday. And then looking here to Christmas Day, temperatures will be in the mid-20s for you there, and then into the teens for single digits, or teens and single digits for wind chills on Sunday, Christmas Day into Middle Tennessee. Hopefully that answers your question. Again, guys, help me get up to 500 likes here on this live stream, guys. I know you guys are helping big time. My ultimate goal is to get to 1,000 likes on the live stream, so keep hitting that like button, guys, if you appreciate me answering all your questions out there. I'm here to do this for you guys, so thanks so much for joining. Snow amount in Toledo, CJ says. It looks like, let me go back here. It looks like about 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for Toledo, Ohio. For snowfall, heavier amounts in northern Ohio, lighter amounts in southern Ohio. So Toledo to Cincinnati to Columbus and Dayton, Ohio. Yeah, about 3 to 6 inches is a good bet across your area there. And then again, very strong winds on the backside. You got to watch out for those near whiteout conditions, especially on Friday and a couple of days here, and lingering into Christmas Eve morning and afternoon with those strong gusty winds out of the west. Winds could be over 50 miles per hour. Crashing temperatures as well. We'll be back near 0 on the Toledo area on Friday. Wind chills could be closing in on 30, if not 25 below, going into the Friday afternoon time frame. And again, Christmas Day, middle teens for highs in Toledo with wind chills near 0. So very cold there across that area. Yes, we need a cold emoji, Thelma says. Yes, we need a cold emoji. Thank you so much. Indiana, yeah, Indiana. You guys are going to be seeing some light to moderate snow accumulations. Nothing, not too big of a deal. But when you talk about maybe 1 to 3 inches or 2 to 4 inches of snowfall in Indiana, heavier amounts getting up toward Gary, Indiana, South Bend, Indiana. Just north of Indianapolis, we could be talking about snowfall amounts of 1 to 3, 2 to 4 inches. But again, it's not a heavy snow, but it's going to be blowing around with that very strong wind across these areas out of the west northwest at 20 to 30 miles per hour, gusts up to around 50, 60 miles per hour. And again, very cold air as well. Friday highs near 0 in Indiana, wind chills near 30 below, so very cold. Yeah, everybody's dropping in those cold emojis. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, it's going to be very cold. That's for sure. Christy says Northeast Georgia. Yes, Northeast Georgia, very cold with those cold emojis on there. Yes. Northeast Georgia on Friday, you're going to be around the upper upper teens to low 20s. But yes, single digits here, upper single digits for the wind chills on Friday. Very cold. Sophia says snowfall for Hot Springs, Arkansas. Let me look that up. I'm not sure exactly where Hot Springs, Arkansas is. Hot Springs, Arkansas, just south and west there of Little Rock. So you're asking, what are you asking? Snow amounts. So snow amounts for Hot Springs, Arkansas. It looks like generally under an inch. It looks like about a half an inch at most, a dusting to a half an inch if you get any snow at all. Some models don't have you getting any snow, so anywhere from 0 inches to a half an inch of snow. But the cold is going to be the big story for your area. It's going to go from the mid 40s on Thursday morning. You're going to be in the mid 40s, crashing to the single digits Thursday afternoon. And then Friday in the southwestern Arkansas, there in the Hot Springs area, will be dropping back into the teens for highs, and then single digits to near 0 for wind chills on Friday. Christmas Day, we're going to be seeing highs near freezing, maybe to the mid 30s there in Hot Springs, Arkansas on Christmas Day. Wind chills into the upper 20s in your area. Schuler says St. Louis metro area snowfall. Yes, looks like just a general 1 to 3 inches of snow for St. Louis. Not too big of a deal there. Probably closer to 1 to 2 inches than 3 inches in isolated spots there near the St. Louis area. Again, very strong winds near St. Louis, creating those near blizzard conditions at times and those very cold temperatures. Temperatures crashing back into the teens and 20s there into St. Louis on Thursday. And then Friday, highs in St. Louis around 5 degrees with wind chills down to near 20 to 25 below 0 in St. Louis Friday afternoon as well. Again, guys, keep hitting that like button down there. Help me get to 1,000 likes on this channel, guys, on this live stream. Definitely appreciate it. Thanks to all the new subscribers out there. I see a lot of new subscribers here subscribing to the channel. Thanks for all the new subscribers. Definitely appreciate it. It looks like we're over 500, guys. Yeah, let's get to 1,000 likes here, at least on this live stream. I definitely appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much for joining. Yeah, definitely enjoy doing these live streams for you guys, answering questions and stuff like that. Here's a curveball, he says. Mr. Flip Catterton says, here's a curveball. Chillicothe, Ohio. Thanks. All right. Not a curveball, man. Not a curveball. I can figure that out here. Let's see. I just got to look up and see where that is. Chillicothe, Ohio. That is in south central Ohio, south of Columbus there. For your area, talking about snowfall, it looks like you're going to see it looks like you're going to see about 3 to 6 inches is a good bet for you. Probably closer to 3 inches than 6. 6 inches will be probably farther off to your north toward Columbus and points north, but about 3 to 4 inches would be a good bet for you, as well as some strong winds creating near blizzard-like conditions later on Friday going into Christmas Eve morning. So watch out on the roadways there. And then again, crashing temperatures there on Thursday into Friday. Friday, high temperatures in the Chillicothe, Ohio area near 0. Wind chills to near 25 and even 30 below Friday afternoon, even colder into Saturday morning. Christmas Day for Chillicothe, Ohio, into the mid-teens and wind chills near 0, if not maybe up to about 5 below on Christmas Day itself in that area. So hopefully that answers your question out there. Brandy says, what about Rome, Georgia? Rome, Georgia. Let's see where that is. That's in northern Georgia. Okay, so northwest of Atlanta. Yeah, upper 20s going to the day on Friday. Highs are going to be in the upper 20s. Sorry, low 20s, low 20s. You're going to be in the low 20s Friday afternoon in your area, and you're going to see single-digit wind chills on Friday, Christmas Day, near freezing, around 30 to 32 degrees, and wind chills Christmas Day into the low to mid 20s where you are. So very cold. No snow for you though. Maybe a few flurries at most, but no, not much snowfall for you in northwest Georgia with this system. Tom says Sturgis, Michigan may be another curveball for you. You guys like giving me the curveballs here today, don't you? Yeah, I'm trying to figure out. I'm from the Midwest, and I've heard some of these cities, like the bigger cities like Cincinnati and that, but some of these smaller cities I got to look up because I'm not too sure. So yes, another curveball for me here. So Sturgis, Michigan. Okay. Okay, so that's right on the border between Michigan and Indiana. Looks like for snow amounts, let me go back again. I don't try to be repetitive on here, guys. I'm just trying to answer everybody's questions, so bear with me. Sturgis area, you're going to be right on that line. It's going to be tough to say. You really did give me a curveball, didn't you? Um, you could see anywhere from a few inches to several inches. I mean, you're right on that line between maybe getting a foot and maybe getting 3 inches. I mean, it's very close. If this track wobbles just a couple counties south, you could see a foot of snow. A couple counties north, you could see 3 inches. I mean, it's just the difference. Just to take away from this, I guess I could say about 3 to 6 inches is a good bet. If you go north, maybe 20 miles of your area in Sturgis, you could see a foot of snow or more. And again, it's just the strong winds. It doesn't matter how much snow you get, just strong winds will be blowing that powdery, dry snow around. And again, those temperatures on Friday in the Sturgis area near zero, and wind chills to not minus 20 to minus 25 in Sturgis on Friday. Christmas Day in the mid-teens. Wind chills down to near zero to maybe even 5 below in Sturgis on Sunday afternoon for Christmas Day in your area. Coleman Clark says snowfall totals in Brighton, Michigan, please. Yes, let me look that up here. Again, I'm not too familiar with some of these smaller towns, but I'll figure it out here as I look them up. Just west of Detroit, north of Ann Arbor, it looks like snow amounts here are going to be. Yeah, it looks like about 8 to 12 inches is a good bet for you. So if you are in that Coleman Clark, if you are in Brighton, Michigan, you are going to get about 8 to 12 inches, probably closer to 8 inches than 12. But yeah, 8 to 12 inches is a good bet for your area. And also very strong winds, a true full-blown blizzard where you live. So definitely a blizzard. I expect blizzard warnings for your area going into the day on Friday and into Saturday. And again, temperatures for highs there will be in the single digits Friday. Wind chills to near 20 below. Very cold. Grand Rapids, Michigan, Greg says. Grand Rapids, that's in western Michigan. Yeah, you're going to see some very heavy snow from the system in Grand Rapids, Michigan there. Greg, you're going to see anywhere from 12 to 18 inches there into the Grand Rapids, Michigan area potentially. A little bit heavier amounts off to your west. So I think about a foot of snow is good enough for you. And then west of you, maybe up to 2 feet in some spots along the lake shoreline there in western Michigan. Very heavy winds as well on the backside, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. And again, a full-blown blizzard into Grand Rapids, Michigan is expected going through the day on Friday and into Saturday. Another area, Grand Rapids, Michigan, where I expect those blizzard warnings to be hoisted. Now, let me go back to the alerts here. This may not be as updated as what it was earlier, but right now in Grand Rapids, I do believe you're in a blizzard warning now. Am I wrong, Greg? I think you're in a blizzard warning right now, unless you're just on the line there between the blizzard warning and the winter storm warning. Yes, western Michigan, you're going to get some pretty heavy snow, foot to foot and a half, if not maybe up to 2 feet right along the shoreline there in those blizzard warnings. Yeah, so if you live from Gary, Indiana, up the shoreline there towards Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, Holland, up toward Muskegon, yeah, you're going to be seeing some pretty heavy snowfall going into the day on Friday with those 1 to 3 inch per hour snow rates. Very strong winds creating those whiteout conditions here, or at least near whiteout conditions. And then you're going to be seeing a lot of those cold temperatures filling in on the backside with that new fresh snowpack and very cold temperatures there.
Western Michigan, those temperatures on Friday will be in the single digits. Wind chills to near 15 to 25 below zero. Very, very cold. Paul says, what happened to the crippling nor'easter? Well, the thing is that this system took a track earlier on. When you're looking at a snowstorm in general, and you're looking at weather models that go 300 to 400 hours out in the future, and you're looking farther out in the future, it gets more uncertain. So if you're looking at a weather model, say for example the GFS, and it's showing, hey, you're going to get a nor'easter here in the I-95 corridor, in Boston or New York City. Well, if it's 7 days out and it shows a big, massive foot of snow coming, well, it could change because, you're still a week out from the system. So it did wobble, to be quite honest with you, and it's still wobbling as we speak. It's not really set in stone for those snow amounts until it really happens, to be quite honest with you. But I think we have a pretty good idea of the snow amounts. But yeah, that crippling nor'easter, it changed, the track changed big time than what was originally anticipated. So it has to do, again, with 7 days out of that system. So whenever you see a snowstorm 7 days out, you can say there's a potential for a snowstorm, but you can't really say the track, the amounts of snow or anything like that until you really know what you're dealing with as you get closer. The closer you get, I think 2 to 3 days out, you start to know more about the snow amounts in the track of the storm and the intensity. And then after that, once you get a day or two out like we are now, then you really start to know a lot more of the snow amounts and the track of the system. So hopefully that answers your question. Walworth County, Wisconsin. That's in southern Wisconsin. Walworth County up there in Monroe, Wisconsin area, Janesville up there. You guys are going to be seeing about 5 to 8 inches worth of snow, probably closer to 5 inches than 8. It looks like the 8-inch totals will be closer there toward Milwaukee and Green Bay, getting up there toward Madison. But it looks like there, Walworth County, we could be talking about 5 to 8 inches. I'd say about 5 to 6 inches being a very good bet of accumulation. And again, very strong winds on the backside of the system. We could be seeing wind gusts over 50 miles per hour on Friday, creating those blizzard conditions. And again, another area where I expect those blizzard warnings to be expanding into southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois in time as we get closer to the event. And crashing temperatures. Again, we'll start off in the low 30s on Thursday morning in Walworth County, and then we'll crash to the single digits on Thursday afternoon. Wind chills as we get into Thursday night will be minus 20. And then Friday here, high temperatures in southern Wisconsin and specifically into Walworth County will be about 5 below zero with wind chills near 30 to 35 below going into Friday afternoon and Friday night. So the entirety of the day on Friday, we're going to see below 20 below wind chills, 20 below or colder across those areas in southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois as we get into that time frame. Time to head south. Yeah, looks like across the south. I mean, Friday, the wind chills are going to be cold. Look at that, guys. Brownsville, Texas will be near 30 degrees with the wind chill on Friday afternoon, that far south between the border of Texas and Mexico. 20 degrees, 19 or 20 degrees could be the wind chill in Houston, Texas there going into Friday afternoon. And then New Orleans into the lower 20s there. And look at that. Even places like Panama City, Tallahassee, low to mid 30s, if not upper 20s for wind chills on Friday. Very cold temperatures here across those areas. That is for sure. That is for sure. Again, guys, just joining, hit the like button down below and the notification bell. And again, subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Thanks for all the new subscriptions out there. Again, appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, looks like, wow. Yeah, some of the new model data that I was just looking at, I'm not showing it on the screen right now because I'm trying to confirm this. But yeah, it looks like we could see a couple areas in North and South Dakota, even eastern Montana, getting to 55 below zero potentially at the coldest. That would be pretty impressive. So we'll continue to watch that. Just a couple of weather models were showing that. We'll see what I'll be looking later to see what the overnight model runs show, and then if that can, if it confirms that way that we see 50 to 55 below zero wind chills, then I might put that in my video information tomorrow. Again, I spend all night, guys. I do a video at 3 a.m. in the morning for you guys to get ready for you guys in the morning. So I put all this information together early in the morning around 2, 3, 4 a.m. I spend hours and hours overnight making a video for you guys in the mornings. I publish it about 9 a.m. Central Time. And again, I get that out mostly every mornings here through the week. So you guys can sit down, drink some coffee, have a cup of coffee, like I said, eat some cereal, have a donut, and just watch the weather here on this channel. Again, another reason to subscribe, to like this live stream, and again, to hit the notification bell to get all my updates in the morning. Again, I see a lot of new subscribers joining here. Thanks to all the new subscribers out there. Definitely appreciate it. You guys rock. Again, can't do it without you. You guys definitely make this channel work. Definitely appreciate it. Let's see. More questions. Again, I'm here to answer questions, guys. That's why I'm here, to answer questions, to keep you guys ahead of the storm out there. Southern Maine. It looks like Southern Maine, we could be talking about some snow, I do believe. Let me look here without, saying that. I want to be very accurate here. It looks like in Southern Maine, we're going to start out as rain, and then we're going to turn over to snow for a brief period of time in Southern Maine on the backside of the storm system, going through the day on Friday, going into Friday night, and then maybe some lingering snow flurries and showers. Snow showers going into the day on Saturday for Maine. Very cold, though. It doesn't look like much snow for southern Maine, maybe up to an inch at most. The heavier snow will be into northwestern Maine, and even that will be just approaching 6 inches. Nothing too extensive for snowpack across that area from this storm. The heaviest snow by far from this system will be 2 to 3 feet. That's across central Ontario and the upper Great Lakes region, the UP of Michigan, northern Michigan, western Michigan, and all across southeastern Canada. Those are the big winners for snow amounts here with this system. That is for sure. Joseph says, do you think St. Louis will get a blizzard warning? Let me see here. I think it's possible. Looking at the alerts right now, St. Louis is under a winter storm warning. The blizzard warning's not too far off to your northwest, just by a couple of hours there into Iowa and Minnesota. I do think it's possible that St. Louis does get upgraded to a blizzard warning, but it doesn't really matter. A winter storm warning, a blizzard warning, it's the impacts are going to be the same. Whether like I said, whether you get 2 inches of snow, a foot of snow, or 2 feet, it's going to be, all the snowfall is going to be blowing around here at the same time, across many of these areas. It doesn't matter how much snow you get. Nate says, thanks for your dedication. You're very welcome. Again, I love doing these live streams, answering your questions out there. That's why I love doing these. Again, because I know a lot of you guys have questions about snow amounts and the track of the storm and what you can expect, whether it's rain, snow, sleet, freezing rain, how much cold air is going to be pulled south with the system. Trust me, I'm here every single day, all day long, here 24 hours a day to answer your questions. You guys can ask me questions on my videos. I respond to those usually in the afternoon and evenings here, so you guys can check that out. Again, I put a new video out this morning, so you guys can go check that out here as well. A new video about this winter storm and blizzard and the long range forecast as well. I'm also keeping an eye on the long range as we have some changes getting toward the end of this month. We could be talking about potentially a warm up, relatively speaking, but we're not too certain of how that will play out. Again, I'll show you that here. If you guys are just joining and haven't heard about this, toward the end of December, between at least a couple days after Christmas, from December 27th through New Year's Eve on the 31st, it does look like we have that ridge of high pressure starting to move its way eastward ever so slightly toward the middle of the country. So the western 2/3 of the country will be probably under those above normal temperatures. But now that doesn't mean we're going to see spring-like temperatures by any means. It just means that we're going to see, so if your average high temperature is 30 degrees, 31 or 32 degrees could be above average. So that's what that means, is that we could probably see above freezing temperatures across the west here, maybe a little bit of a late December, early January thaw. But it does look like we have that fire hose of moisture moving in across the Pacific Northwest and the West Coast that will produce a lot of heavy mountain snow. I know the Sierra Nevadas will probably be getting some beneficial heavy snow, probably feet of snow across those areas. And then we'll also be seeing some very heavy snows up into portions of the Rockies here, farther to the east, across Utah, Wyoming, Colorado, and then very heavy rain from Seattle down through Portland, Oregon, and getting into north central California, right along the west coast shorelines there. Looks pretty active across the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and the Southeast. Maybe some more snow events, or maybe at least some rain events, or a mix of both toward the end of the month here. Going through the first few days of January through January 4th, it does look pretty warm, actually. I mean, to be quite honest with you, it looks like a change in the weather pattern. We're going to see very cold temperatures here through Christmas weekend, and then we see a very quick rebound going in toward the New Year's holiday, going into the first week in January, especially centered on the Great Lakes and the New England region. This is probably going to feel like summer for most of us here, especially after getting out of wind chills of 30, 40, and 50 below. I mean, 30 degrees is going to feel like summer with above zero temperatures going through the first few days here into January, and then an active pattern will ensue across much of the rest of the country, across the the lower 48, going through the first full week there in January. Again, that fire hose of moisture will be moving in. It does look like we have a lot of moisture moving in again across Oregon, Washington State, north central California, into Idaho there, Nevada, getting through the Rocky Mountains. We're going to be replenishing that snowpack in a big way across the Sierra Nevadas here. Feet of snow will be on the way. Heavy rainfall, maybe some flooding across the Pacific Northwest. We'll watch out for that. Another blocking pattern will set up across Greenland. Underneath that, we could have a trough developing potentially towards New Year's Eve, New Year's Day timeframe, thereabouts, going into the first few days in January. That could lead to another trough with a low pressure system here starting to form across Texas into Oklahoma, and that could be driving its way up toward the Great Lakes, possibly taking a similar path to what we see now. And then again, we're going to be seeing that La Nina continue with that moderate La Nina through the rest of the month here. And then again, those La Nina conditions across the equatorial Pacific will continue with those colder sea surface temperatures there as well. Again, I didn't want to stray away too much from answering people's questions, like asking, I know a lot of people have specific questions about this snowstorm, so I don't want to stray too far away and talk about the climate, the climate and all that. But I did want to mention that, we are seeing some changes going to the end of December into early January, but we're going to take it one storm at a time, and this is what we're going to focus on for right now. So we're not going to worry about early January's potential storm quite yet until we get past this one. Kim says, what's the weather look like for Pike County, Kentucky? It looks like some snow, potentially 1 to 3 inches, maybe localized 4-inch amounts there for Pike County, Kentucky. Very cold air on the backside of the system. Again, very strong winds ushering in that very cold air mass as we get towards the end here of this week, going into Christmas holiday weekend. Cold air will be moving in. Single-digit highs across much of Kentucky on Friday, around 5 degrees. Wind chills getting into the teens below zero, if not 20 degrees below zero in that Pike County area in Kentucky there on Friday. Yes, William says some moderation in temperatures. Yeah, it'll feel like summer for sure. Summer weather almost compared to looking at these wind chills here, 30, 40, 50 below. I mean, 32 degrees will feel like summer, I'm sure, for a lot of us across the country as we get towards the New Year's holiday and the first full week there in January. Kind of a January thaw type of atmosphere there. Jay says it looks like below zero for Kentucky. Yes, very cold for Kentucky. Well below zero for Kentucky. Wind chills will be back to near 20 below in a lot of Kentucky and the Ohio Valley going through the afternoon and evening on Friday, and really much of the Christmas holiday weekend itself. Okay, so I did want to clear something up, guys, and there's a lot of people saying this storm is overhyped. Okay, so I see somebody already commenting down below saying it's overhyped. I wanted to ask a lot of people in the chat, do you think I'm overhyping the storm, saying it's a massive snowstorm when we're talking about almost 2 feet of snow into Canada, into the upper Midwest? We're talking about strong blizzard conditions with winds that could gust over 50 miles per hour and also up to 50 below wind chills here in the Dakotas, getting down into the Ohio Valley with 30 to 40 below wind chills going into the end of the week here. That's pretty overhyped to you guys? I may be mistaken, but... Okay, just making sure. I didn't want to sound smart. I was just being quite honest. I was really asking you guys an honest question. I mean, does that sound really like overhyped to you guys that we're going to see up to 50 below wind chills going into this weekend? I get all this information from computer models, and what the computer models run off of are supercomputers. Again, I don't make these maps. These are not my maps. These are actually part of Pivotal Weather. It's a weather website. You can go over to pivotalweather.com. They have all these websites. You got tropical tidbits and all that. And again, it's just a map that some of these supercomputers make. I don't make the weather, guys, and I promise you guys that this is real data. So Michael says, "Will there be ice buildup and power outages?" There could be a flat, what we call a flash freeze. What I mean by that is there could be some rainfall, say in the Ohio Valley or the Tennessee Valley, until we get that cold Arctic front to move through, and then we'll see a flash freeze with temperatures dropping back to the single digits and below zero, wind chills below 20 below there, 20 below or colder, and that's where we're going to be seeing, a lot of those flash freezes out there. Any standing water on the roadways or in ponds and stuff like that. I'm also worried about ice jams on rivers, creeks, and streams, where we're going to see these extreme temperatures differences. Like one day we could be in the 40s, and the next day we could be below zero. That's a big stress on the area rivers, creeks, and streams out there, and we'll be forming that a very solid sheet of ice across those areas. So ice jams and a flash freeze is definitely possible across those areas. William says Indianapolis predicting 20 below to 30 below wind chills. Yes, very, very cold. So no overhype there. Guys, 20 to 30 below zero, you can get frostbite in at least 20 minutes. And then even when you get to, 40, 50 below zero up here in the Dakotas here on Friday, you go outside and these wind chill warning criteria, I mean, you guys can get frostbite in 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, it's very cold. It's life-threatening wind chills, guys. There's no overhyped on these wind chills. There's nothing hyped about this. This is dangerous cold weather. I mean, if you think about this is the coldest weather on Earth, is literally moving across parts of Canada, the Siberian Express, all the way south into portions of the United States this weekend. So that's why we're stressing this is not overhyped. This is true weather, and it's going to be moving in. And if you guys think this is overhyped, go outside on Friday afternoon and let me know how overhyped it is across central Iowa when the wind chill's at 30 below zero, okay? So let me know. And I'm not blaming anybody on here. I'm just saying there's a lot of people who are saying it's overhyped. And just let me know. Go outside in Des Moines, Iowa on Thursday afternoon and tell me how warm it is when it's 30 below zero outside. So again, just so those select few people that say it's hyped out there, it's not. So Rick says, "What is the best weather app?" I personally have the weather app on my the Weather Channel app on my phone. I stray away from the AccuWeather app. I think the best weather app on your phone is probably Radar Omega. You get the radar, very nice data from that. You get wind chills, you get temperatures, wind speeds. You have severe weather outbreaks. You have this tornado warnings. You have all the alerts on there, including the live feed from the storm chasers on the ground on the Radar Omega app. It's only a small fee. I think if anybody can correct me, I think it's between like $7 and $10 or something like that. And I think it's pretty cheap. It's just a one-time fee. You don't have to keep paying every month. And again, that's what you get with that weather app. So check out Rick Key. Check out Radar Omega or the Weather Channel app. That's kind of what I say. Just Jay says, what's it going to be like in New York? New York City or New York State? You'll have to let me know. I think New York State, upstate New York, will see heavy snow. Maybe a few inches there, and again, colder weather on the backside for all of the New England region going into the day on Friday, especially getting into Pennsylvania, western New York Friday morning into the afternoon, and then wind chills moving into western New York and Pennsylvania there and toward New York City below zero by Friday night. Mr. Storm says, "What will the winds be on Long Island?" Let's see here. The winds will be... I went too far on here. My bad, guys. Yeah, and I think you said Long Island. Yeah, Long Island, the winds will be pretty strong, probably between 20 and 30 miles an hour sustained out of the west or the west-southwest, and then gusting over 50 miles per hour potentially across Long Island. So very windy there in those open areas near New York City going in towards that time frame. Let's see. Smoky Floyd, balmy -30. We'll get some frozen. Yeah, the lakes will freeze probably a little bit. It just depends. Even though it's -30 outside, and you have these strong. You guys got to think that with these lakes, with the winds moving over the lake. You say, for example, Lake Michigan at gusts over 50 miles per hour. You have those waves, those lake waves on the lake itself. You can't really create ice on the lakes when you have those waves in place. But if you have calmer waters for sure, then yeah, I could see an ice jam or something like that, especially in area rivers. Those ice jams on the area rivers, creeks, and streams looks like a good bet here this upcoming weekend. Again, thanks for all the new likes on there, all the new subscribers here on the channel. Definitely appreciate you guys subscribing. It's free to do, and you guys are in. You get all of my weather forecast updates on this channel here. And again, hit the notification bell. You get all these live streams and videos and everything. I post every morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. And again, I posted this morning at 9 a.m. You guys can go check out my latest weather forecast video here this evening after the live stream if you guys would like. Oh, okay, $8.99 for Radar Omega. Thank you very much, Sanders. Thank you so much. Yeah, about $9 there for Radar Omega. It's a nice app. Again, it's worth it. It's a cheap fee. Again, it's a one-time fee, and again, it's a lot of great tools on that. You have the radar. You have live storm chaser feeds off there with ground truth, especially when you have tornado outbreaks and stuff like that, and a lot of great tools on that. Finders Keeper says, are you still sticking to your prediction of the Ohio Valley having an active winter? Yes, the Ohio Valley is going to be very active this winter. Maybe not necessarily at first. I think it's going to take a while to get going, but once we get to February and March, it's going to be pretty active there in the Ohio Valley. I'm talking about a lot of snow, a lot of cold and across those areas. Now, there will be times where it will warm up and we will see rain, but more likely than not, it'll be cold, very snowy, like we're seeing now across the Ohio Valley and getting farther into the winter. Patricia says, what about Santa Fe, New Mexico? Hey, New Mexico. Hello from Northern Illinois. That's where I'm from. Yeah, it looks like Santa Fe, New Mexico. Let's see. Just northeast of Albuquerque there. Just cold for you guys. Colder weather at times. It looks like just if you're in northeast New Mexico in the Santa Fe area, we could have temperatures in the 20s and 30s on Thursday. Wind chills back down into the single digits and teens. And then as we head into Friday, we have some of that colder air pushing a little bit farther to the west towards Albuquerque, towards Santa Fe there with the 20s and 30s. Wind chills back down to near the single digits there in northeastern New Mexico. Christmas Day, though, we do see a rebound in Santa Fe and Albuquerque with high temperatures Christmas Day getting well above freezing into the mid and upper 40s, if not, closing in on 50 degrees on Christmas Day itself. Again, wind chills won't be that big of a deal on Christmas Day for that area. Yeah, wind chills are 40 to 50 degree wind chills. I do agree, JCS. That is, those are pretty extreme. You don't see those every day. And again, this is why we stress this very strongly that it's not overhyped and it's nothing to take lightly. 50 degree wind chills, 50 degrees below zero wind chills do not happen every single day. And we want to stress this, that this is life-threatening wind chill potential. I mean, if you go outside, you guys could literally get frostbite and 50 to below wind chills or even 40 below wind chills in 10 minutes or less. I mean, this is very extreme type of weather. So that's why we stress this very much so here in the weather department on here. Drew says, I'm in Washington State here also. Well, hello from Washington State. Thank you very much. Finders Keeper says, nice. Yep. How cold in southeast Kansas? JCS says on Thursday, tomorrow, we're going to see highs near 0 in southeast Kansas, wind chills down to near 20 below. Friday, we're going to see temperatures rebounding to around 10 degrees in southeast Kansas, wind chills still down below 0 to near 5 to 10 below there. And then Christmas Day, highs in the mid to upper 20s in southeast Kansas, and wind chills in the low 20s to upper teens. So I'll be moderating a little bit more with those temperatures toward Christmas Day itself in your neck of the woods, that's for sure. I know I've been on here for a while, guys. I'll be on here for just a little while longer than I think I'm going to head out. I'm going to get ready to make my video here in the morning for you guys. Again, I welcome all the new subscribers here onto the channel. Thank you guys all so much for subscribing and supporting this channel. Definitely appreciate it. If you guys want more of these live streams, I will be doing more of these starting next week, probably once or twice per week, just going over the general weather forecast. If you guys have any questions, the longer range forecasts, and we'll be kind of going along and updating some of the climate data as well, talking about La Nina and Enso neutral and El Nino and all that stuff moving forward. So again, guys, our goal is to get 1,000 likes here on this channel. Looks like we're up to 610. So if 400 people or so could like the live stream here right now, all you guys that are in the live stream, if you have not yet clicked the like button and subscribe down below. And again, this helps to get all this information out to more and more people. Definitely appreciate it, guys. SC, Iowa City here. How is it? Very cold. Very cold in Iowa City. We got some snow on the way. There could be up to around, 3 to 6 inches of snow on the way for Iowa City. Again, it's not really the snow, it's the strong winds that's going to be the big issue here on Friday. Looks like we're going to see winds that could be over 50 miles per hour with the gusts in Iowa City on Friday. Near blizzard-like conditions possible at times, especially if we have that 3 to 6 inch snowpack realized. And then going into Saturday, those winds will start to ease up into the afternoon and move farther east. And it looks like crashing temperatures in Iowa City. We'll have highs tomorrow near -7 in Iowa City, and wind chills down to near 30 to 35 below zero. Friday, highs near -5, wind chills again to near -30 on Friday, and then Christmas Day for Iowa City, Iowa there, highs near 0 or 1 above, with wind chills down to near 15 to 20 below again on Christmas Day itself. So very cold this upcoming holiday weekend for you guys there in Iowa City. Yeah, Saturday, I didn't put Saturday on there because Saturday doesn't, yeah, it means a lot, but it's just Christmas Eve. I just wanted to I didn't want to be, moving through the slides showing you, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just becoming, so repetitive talking about the temperatures. I just kind of skipped to Christmas Day because Christmas Day is more meaningful to people than Christmas Eve for the most part, because more people get together on Christmas Day for the holiday, and I just wanted to show you their high temperatures on that day itself. Yeah, thank you, Finders Keepers. Yeah, hit that like button, guys. Thanks so much. JCS says, lucky for me, I am going to Arizona for Christmas. 70-degree weather sounds great right now. Yeah, definitely some very warm temperatures down in Arizona on Christmas. Looks like some 60s and 70s down there, especially into southern and southwestern Arizona and, southern California area for sure. Thank you, Drew. Yes, smash that like button, guys. Thank you so much, Drew. You're very welcome, SC. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and supporting the page. Thank you so much. Canton, Ohio here, Barbie says. Well, thank you so much for joining the live stream from Canton, Ohio. Thank you so much. Hopefully you guys can get your white Christmas out there this year. I know a lot of people are wondering about the white Christmas. If you live north of Tennessee, north of Ohio, north of Tennessee, north of Oklahoma, rather, you're going to see that white Christmas be realized, I think, this year. All you need for a white Christmas is just an inch or more of snow on the ground. And again, you get that white Christmas as well. Again, I know I showed you this before a long time ago, but another tip, if you guys are heading out in those blizzard conditions and you have to necessarily drive, again, travel is not advised, especially in Wisconsin, Michigan, and much of the Ohio Valley and Midwest going into Friday and Saturday with those near whiteout conditions. And also, here, those, blowing and drifting snowfall here moving through and all the heavy snow. If you do have to travel, pack pack a shovel here in your car. If you guys do get stranded, a flashlight here with phone and a charger. Also here, a radio with batteries and extra batteries does work. Non-perishable food items in case you get stranded here with some water as well. And again, especially here if you lose and run out of lose gas here just by getting stranded here, running that gas and the heat in your car, you do want to have a backup plan in case you run out of gas and you have to bring extra clothing like coats, scarves, gloves, and even snow pants and stuff like that to stay warm. Definitely do so across those areas getting through this weekend. Let's see. Stanley says, hi, will my water freeze in Jacksonville, Florida? Let me check that out for you. Very good question. Very good question. Jacksonville, Florida on Thursday, you're going to be fine. You're going to be in the mid 60s down there, about 65, 66 degrees in Jacksonville on Thursday. It's really Friday where we have to get temperatures crashing into the 40s there into South Georgia, still around 50 there on Friday into Jacksonville, a little bit chillier for you guys. But then going into Sunday, again, that's the day where we have all that chilly air moving south. We could be near 40 degrees there in Jacksonville. I think you'll be fine for the water purposes there. I don't think they'll be freezing. But again, it'll be cold. The water will be cold, but I don't think it'll freeze in Jacksonville necessarily. Yeah, exactly. Sanders, I definitely agree with you. It's not overhyped at all. Yeah, it's the most extreme weather that on the planet, to be quite honest with you. This cold air mass. You guys has to imagine that this cold air mass is not from the United States. This originated all the way up in Siberia and the Arctics, like far northern Canada and Siberia, and all the way across parts of the North Pole. I mean, this area literally of cold air has traveled that far south to reach the lower 48 in southern Canada, and it took that long. And I know a lot of people are wondering, a month or so ago, like, where's all the cold air they've been talking about? Where's all the cold air? Well, it's here now, and it just took a while for it to, you have a stratospheric warming event or a polar vortex disruption event or a stretching event here, a polar vortex stretching event. It takes a while for the cold air to transfer itself down from the stratosphere all the way down to the surface to where we feel the weather. And again, it takes a while, a couple of weeks to do that. So for example, if we had a stratospheric warming event today happen across, say, northern Canada up toward the Arctics, then it would take about 1 to 2 weeks for that to reach the surface, and then another week, about 2.5 weeks, for it to even reach the southern United States. So that's the process in which how long it takes for it to move south. It really is a pretty impressive process to watch. If you guys have ever seen the oscillation up there of the polar vortex on like the satellite imagery or anything like that, it's pretty impressive. Again, guys, keep pressing that like button. We're trying to get to 1,000 likes here on this live stream before I end it here this evening. Definitely appreciate it. Let's see. Everyone stay warm. JCS says everyone stay warm and be safe, especially if you're the one driving like me tomorrow. Yes, definitely want to stay safe. Travel slow. Leave plenty of distance between you and the car in front of you, especially if you have snowy roads and icy roads out there. Again, travel is not advised across Michigan, Wisconsin, or much of the Midwest or Ohio Valley through this weekend. Just stay indoors. A nice time to watch a movie or stay indoors and do some Christmas games or something like that, and just enjoy having family around for Christmas, and just let this weather system pass. And I promise you, we'll be having light at the end of the tunnel with the warmer weather coming up towards the end of December. We'll have that January thaw for the first week in January, and then we'll go from there as well. So. Floyd says, isn't cold air at this time not normal? It's pretty typical to have this cold, cold air in December, but this cold of air, like if we're here, let me go back and show you the map. Wind chills like this of minus 50 is really cold for winter in general. I mean, this doesn't happen every winter. If you guys remember the winter of 2019, where we had wind chills, I think through the Minnesota, Iowa, and back into the Dakotas of like 60 below, and even close to 70 below zero, I think at times in southern Canada. This is a similar setup to that. So again, this doesn't happen every year, but it is still possible every few years. So. Donkey says, not this cold and not this far south. Very rare. Yeah, very rare. It usually does not reach the Gulf of Mexico. He's very correct. Yeah, you're very correct on that. Like temperatures like this, these are temperatures on Friday. I mean, it's rare to get to 30 degrees for a high in, Houston or like New Orleans or even Brownsville, Texas, far South Texas in the mid 30s, or even northern portions of Mexico in the mid 30s. That's pretty rare. And then when you factor in the wind chills, Crossing over from Texas into the Mexico border here, we're going to be in the upper 20s for wind chills on the 23rd on Friday. So that's pretty rare in itself. And you have 11 degrees for a wind chill in Dallas, Texas. You got 22 degrees for a wind chill in New Orleans, 6 degrees for a wind chill in Atlanta, just very cold, and it spills all the way south to the Gulf of Mexico as well. So even though it doesn't get below freezing in, for example, Miami, Florida, you're still going to be affected by this cold air because you're used to seeing highs in the 70s or so this time of year. And by the time we get to Sunday, yeah, look at the temperatures down here in Miami, just only to about 49, 50 degrees. So that's chilly for some of these areas into southern Florida. That is for sure. Do we have an accurate look at south central Pennsylvania yet? Yes, it looks like for snowfall purposes across south central Pennsylvania, let me go back here. It does look like we're setting up to see about, 3 to 6 inches across south central Pennsylvania. So enough to shovel, enough to plow, and enough to snow blow across those areas. If you're talking about the snow. Tom says, we will see here in the Ohio River Valley. It looks like just a moderate snow event in the Ohio River Valley. To the north in Michigan and Wisconsin and all of southeastern Canada, Quebec and Ontario, that's where the bulk of the snowfall will fall. That's where the brunt of the snowfall will be, with 2 to 3 feet of snowfall across portions of Ontario there. Jared says, any snow in Memphis, Tennessee? There's possibility that we could have a dusting of snow, maybe up to a ½ inch in Memphis, Tennessee. A quick hitting snow going into the day here on, let's see here, Friday. So going from tomorrow into Friday here morning. So tomorrow night into Friday morning, there could be a quick burst to some heavy snow across those areas towards Memphis, Tennessee and western Tennessee, and then that'll move its way off to the east. So maybe a quick dusting for your area. That's about it. Carrie says Maryland is going to be a cluster of everything. Yeah, it looks like in Maryland you're going to start with rain and then go over to sleet and freezing rain for a brief, like maybe few minutes, and then a brief mix there of snow and freezing rain and sleet and everything, and then just a brief period of snow and then the wind behind it and cold. So yes, a lot of different impacts there for Maryland, that's for sure. Definitely correct on that. Better than I was planning for. That's a bonus. Well, there you go. Hopefully it works out in your favor then. There are supposed to be winds here and heavy precip from December 28th to the 4th, where I am also maybe. Okay, yeah, looks like some pretty heavy. Are you talking about Sierra Nevadas out in California? Yeah, very heavy precipitation like I was showing you earlier on. Yeah, out west, very heavy precipitation there. For sure across those areas. It looks like I said, like a fire hose of moisture across those areas. It's going to be opening up as we get towards that time frame. And again, the Sierra Nevadas are going to see probably feet of snow. We're going to see very heavy precipitation here across the west coast. Let me just show you guys real quick. So you have the above normal precipitation across the west, above normal precipitation across the west going all the way through January 4th. And again, that fire hose of moisture with this very strong and dynamic mid to upper level jet pointed right at the west coast. And that's where we have that above normal precipitation during that period. And the Sierra Nevadas are going to be feeling that with those above normal precipitation amounts in those areas for sure. Again, guys, keep hitting that like button, guys. Let's get to 1,000 likes. Everybody in the live stream right now, hit the like button if you guys have not already. Definitely appreciate it. Spread the word out there, guys. Let's get this information out to as many people as possible. Every like that we get on this live stream spreads more of this information out to more people because more people join the live stream. So definitely, keep hitting that like button out there, guys. We'll be spreading this information out amongst more people here. Hit the subscribe button as well. Yeah, it looks like across portions of the West Coast, it's, yeah, like I said, Seattle to Portland, Oregon, getting all the way down to north central portions of California, and even Idaho, down through Nevada, Utah, the Colorado Rockies. We're going to be seeing some mountain snow in a big way toward the end of the month here and going to the first week of January. That is for sure. Yeah, thank you everybody for asking questions here this evening. Again, it's been very fun. I hope everybody stays safe out there, has a great Christmas weekend. Again, we're just doing this to answer questions and to have you stay as safe as possible from these storms as we can here through this weekend. Donnie says, any snow for extreme southwest North Carolina? No, not with this system. This is going to be bringing just cold air for you guys. Let me go to the Friday time frame for you. Friday is just going to be bringing some colder temperatures for you across portions there of southwestern North Carolina into the teens and 20s. Wind chills back down to the single digits for your area. But yeah, no snow for you in North Carolina with this system. Ramon says Houston. Yeah, Houston, you're not going to see any snow, but very cold temperatures. This is one of the areas that I was talking about earlier with the weather whiplash. Houston, you'll be in the mid 60s tomorrow, 65 degrees or so, and then crashing on Friday with temperatures down into the 30s on Friday, if not upper 20s for Houston. So we're going to go from 65 on Thursday to 30 degrees on Friday with wind chills down into the teens in Houston. So very cold turnaround there across coastal Texas. That is for sure. Jared says, thank you. Do we have other things to worry about like sleet or freezing rain? No, sleet or freezing rain should not be that big of a deal with this system. It's going to be so cold to where it's going to turn right over to snow very quickly. So if you have a brief period of sleet or freezing rain, it should only last just a few minutes or so at most, maybe up to 20 minutes in length at most, and then turning over to snow very quickly with the rush of cold air behind this system. So very good question, and you're very welcome, Jared. Yes, North Canton, Ohio here, and I can't wait for snow. Yeah, it looks like you're going to get plenty of snow there in the Canton, Ohio area. Could be talking about, 3 to 6 inches worth of snow, so a lot to shovel and a lot to snow blow and plow out there. Definitely a plowable snow for you in central portions there of Ohio. JCS, will this cause lake effect snow for the Great Lakes afterwards? Yes, it's actually doing it during the storm too. It's producing the lake effect snow. That's why we have that heavier band of snow up here into Michigan. Here, and I'll show you this a little bit closer view. I'm gonna move this up towards Michigan here, and let's see how much snowfall. Let's use the NAM model. Yeah, so you see western Michigan here. See that really heavy band of snow like into western Michigan here, and then it really up toward Lake Superior. It says about 40 inches. Yeah, that's possible. I mean, it's possible. Some of these areas with lake effect snow could get 30 to 40 inches by the time it's all said and done into the UP of Michigan near the lake. And then again, that 2 to 3 foot snow up into central Ontario and then across western portions of Michigan there toward Muskegon, Holland, Grand Rapids, down there toward Gary, Indiana. We could see a couple of feet of snow there as possible as well going through the holiday weekend with that lake effect snow. Ramel says, what's up in Maryland? Looks like in Maryland, we're going to see mainly just rainfall, but maybe some snow on the backside, especially into western Maryland here in the higher elevations of Maryland toward the Appalachian chain. We could be talking about maybe just a few inches of snow there during that period, but mainly rain with the system and then the cold air behind it. It's going to get cold. I mean, Maryland, we're going to be talking about temperatures on Thursday or Friday rather, going into the single digits with wind chills below zero. So very cold. Yeah, Kimber says we had wind chills like this in 2019. Yes, 2019. Yeah, that's what I was mentioning before. That was the last time we had these extreme 40, 50, and even 60 below wind chills across the upper Midwest, really almost in the same area that we're seeing it now and going into this weekend. So it's very, very impressive and intriguing to see how this replays itself a few years later here in 2022 and going into 2023 as well. And I guarantee you guys, this is not the last polar vortex we're going to see this year. I do have high confidence, and a very high confidence at that before winter is over, we're going to at least have 1 or 2 more bouts of a polar vortex disruption or a stratospheric warming event that will pull itself down into the lower 48. And we'll have wind chills like this again, at least I think in February or even into March, at least one more time. I have very high confidence in that, looking at some of the longer range climate weather forecast models here. So that's what we're seeing. Yeah, the climate models go all out on a cold February and March. So we'll see. We could have this again toward the end of winter. Memphis area forecast. Yeah, looks like Memphis, you're going to see maybe up a dusting to a half an inch of snow. Not a big deal. The bigger deal will be the cold down there. We're going to see high temperatures tomorrow near 50 in Memphis, and then falling back into the teens, and if not upper single digits for highs in Memphis there on Friday. Wind chills below 0 in Memphis, down to about 5 below Friday afternoon. Christmas Day back up to near the mid 20s with wind chills in the teens there in Memphis. So very cold weekend ahead for you. Uh, do you know when the snowstorm is going to hit Toronto? Yes. Here, let me go back to the slides with where the snow is setting up here. Just one moment. Yeah, Toronto is going to get hit with the snow as we head here in towards Thursday night, overnight Thursday night. Might start as a little bit of rain for Toronto, but quickly that cold air will wrap itself in, and we're going to see blizzard conditions in Toronto with a 981 millibar low over the central Great Lakes during that period. Full-blown blizzard conditions across those areas into Michigan, into Toronto. Heavy snowfall rates over 1 inch per hour is likely, and that will continue through the day on Saturday or Friday into Saturday night, and that will continue as we head towards Sunday as well with some lingering snow. And that's why we're going to see Toronto, I think about 12 to 18 inches of snow is a good bet for Toronto here using the NAM model. Pretty similar here on the RDPS model as well. Another short range weather model showing 12 to 18 inches for Toronto. So yeah, 12 to 18 inches, locally higher amounts possible near Toronto and near the lakes there, up to about 2 feet potentially if you're closer to the lake there in Toronto. Definitely possible. The more snow, the better here in Ontario. We could use the recharge of water. Yes, it definitely helps with the watershed out there. I know a lot of the watershed out west here with the Sierra Nevadas. It's very important to see the feet of snow there. That's going to be happening next week, thankfully. But yeah, across Ontario, 2 to 3 feet of snow is very beneficial for the water supply there. So definitely some good news. Carrie says Baltimore is supposed to go from 50s to low 20s with a flash freeze within hours. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, one of those things where you have it's a powerful, powerful cold front moving through, and yeah, you're going to see about 10 to 15 degrees per hour drop on temperatures, like a very sharp drop in temperatures going into the day on Friday for many of us here, and probably into the day on Saturday across the Northeast. So very interesting it will be indeed across those areas. Again, guys, keep hitting that like button down below. Let's try and do it. Let's do this, guys. Let's get to 1,000 likes on this live stream. Definitely appreciate it, guys. Again, I do these live streams for you. I look forward to doing more of these live streams as we get closer towards, the holidays too, especially to kind of, give you more information and lead time if you guys are traveling or doing anything with family and friends across country, to kind of give you more information on what the weather is going to be from coast to coast and across Canada and the tropics and all that here, to get you more information around the holidays especially. But yeah, I'll be doing these live streams more often, especially once or twice a week if you guys are just joining me. And we'll be doing this more often to do some, fine tuning the details of these storm systems and looking at the long range weather pattern and all that stuff. Rick says, "You the weatherman." Well, thank you so much. Yeah, I try to be anyway. I've looked up a lot of. I'm self-taught. That's for sure. So a lot of this that I've done, I've self-taught. I read weather forecast discussions all day long. I research the weather about like these big events like tornado outbreaks and how they unfolded, and kind of look through analogs. You look through past events. You learn from history, and that's how you get better at forecasting the weather in the future. Floyd says in 1 hour north of Toronto is crazy on the difference between them and us. Yeah, for sure. Are you talking about the snowfall or the cold weather? Is that what you're talking about? Rob says, how much snow in Oklahoma City do you think? Oklahoma City, I think about a dusting of snow at best, and that might be a worst case scenario. I think a few flurries to a dusting. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It's the cold weather in Oklahoma City. High of 8 degrees in Oklahoma City tomorrow on Thursday, wind chills to 12 below. Friday, temperatures in the mid-teens, near 15, 16 degrees for highs, and near 0 with the wind chills on Friday. And then Christmas Day will rebound a little bit in Oklahoma City to the mid-30s, around 37 for a high on Sunday, Christmas Day. Wind chills back down into the upper 20s. So if there's another cold snap in February, would it resemble that that mass snow in February 2021. I'm not sure exactly what you're meaning about a massive snow event in February 2021. Again, there's been a lot of snow events from last year, so I'm not sure. What's the problem, Rain? What's the problem? So I have a 60% chance of rain next week, and it was nowhere to go, so flooding could be an issue. Well, the thing is when you get these heavy snow amounts, and then you get these big warm-ups behind the polar vortex itself, that's when you have to worry about, especially if you get that deep snowpack for those, um, those melting of all that snowpack. So you get that flooding concern. So yeah, that's possible. I wouldn't say anything's too concerning at the moment for that right now, but Willie says no mention of Connecticut. Honestly, Connecticut is going to just see rain. That's why we haven't talked about it much. And Connecticut, you're just going to see rain. The cold air is going to be there behind the storm system. I mean, Sunday, Christmas Day, 25th, Connecticut, you'll be in the mid 20s, wind chills in the teens. But other than that, the real weather, the real extreme weather anyway, is well to your west with the heavy snow and the extreme deep freeze with those 40 and 50 below wind chills. So that's why we haven't talked about Connecticut much. I try to get everywhere across the United States and answer all questions about, all the states. But again, when you have all 50 states and you cover Canada and the tropics, again, it's tough. I try to do as much as I can, guys. So just bear with me. Again, I try. But if you ask the questions, I will answer them for you as much as I possibly can. JCS says down south, there was a bad system called Viola, which dumped a foot of snow as far south as Dallas. Oh, really? Was that in 2021? Is that what you're talking about? I don't remember that one. Yeah, this time it looked like a nor'easter about a week ago, and then all of a sudden it just kind of fizzled out and moved farther. I wouldn't say fizzled out for your area, but moved farther west with the storm track. That's pretty much what it did. Oh yeah, I'll have to look at that JCS. I'm not sure. I thought for sure there. I mean, there was heavy snow events last year, but I'll have to go back and look at the analogs and look at some of the snowfall, the snowpack from last year to see. Because I know there was a heavy snow event through the Ohio Valley, and then there's another couple of heavy snow events across the Upper Midwest. But I'm not too sure about Dallas, Texas. But again, I could be wrong. It's been a while, so. If that happened in 2021, it's 2023 just about now. So it's just I might have to get my memory refreshed for that to remember. Again, everybody, if you just joined, if you have been here already, have not pressed the like button, please, everybody, do me a favor, press the like button down below. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're new. Hit the notification bell to get all of my daily weather forecast updates on this channel. Tom says, look back to Superstorm of 93, the perfect storm. Are you talking about like hurricane wise, or are you talking about like superstorm that brought really heavy snow? I know 93 was, I think, an analog year for some pretty heavy snow, but yeah, there's a lot of analog years for some big snow. I know the blizzard of 78 was a pretty big blizzard. That was a pretty notorious blizzard for the United States. Still holds a big precedent even today. Precedent for, a lot of snow today even, so. Does anybody in the chat down below let me know? Do you guys remember the blizzard of 78, 1978, 79? Do you guys remember that? Anybody in the chat? I, of course, didn't because I'm 22 and I wasn't born then, but I remember reading about it anyway and seeing the pictures of those really high snowpack and, over people's roofs, and snow was just, it was crazy. It looked like tunnels of snow in some spots. There was a lot of snow with that storm. Oh, you were 4 years old in 93. Okay, gotcha. Hey, well, you're still there, man. You're still there. Tom says I'm 60, and yes. Oh, yeah, you do. Did you experience, like, did you go through that storm, or were you somewhere else in the country and didn't go through it? Like, how much snow did you get from that storm system in 78? Jeffrey says, I'm in Mobile, Alabama. How bad is it going to get there? Not bad with snowfall. You're not going to see any snow, but the cold, it's going to get pretty cold there in Mobile, Alabama. We're talking about Thursday, first of all. We're going to see temperatures in the mid upper 50s. in Mobile on Thursday. And then Friday, high temperatures will be crashing into the upper 20s, wind chills down into the mid to upper teens in Mobile, Alabama on Friday. And then Saturday into Sunday will rebound back to the low 30s. Christmas Day back to about 35 degrees or so with wind chills in the 20s. So pretty chilly for that far south, that is for sure. Pretty chilly for that far south. Oh, you remember watching something about it. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I remember reading about it. There's a lot of articles about how much snow there were and setting all these records and stuff for snowfall, and yeah, it's crazy. A lot of snow. It's like if you look up the pictures, it's like there's tunnels and tunnels of snow moving through. It's just a lot of snow. Um, yeah, you're welcome, Jeffrey. Definitely appreciate you joining. Thank you so much. Tom says I lived in upstate New York. We had over 8 feet in Cortland, New York. Wow, that's pretty impressive. That is impressive. Was that lake effect or was that just generally the storm itself? That wasn't lake effect snow, was it? Toronto, Canada? Question mark. Snowfall wise, Snowfall wise in Toronto, 12 to 18 inches is a good bet. Localized amounts up to 2 feet, especially as you get closer to the lake there in Toronto. Other than that, again, it's going to be blowing and drifting very much so across that area with those very strong blizzard-like conditions in Toronto. Those blizzard warnings should be in place going through the day here on Friday. So very extreme winds across those areas, a full-blown blizzard in through the Toronto area, and then going through the day on Saturday as well with those strong winds. So stay safe up there in Toronto. Oh, that's the storm your mom talks about. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's a lot of good reads on it. There's a lot of good articles talking about how much snow everybody got and all the records set and everything. That's crazy. Lee says, how about the lakeshore of Pennsylvania? Lakeshore of Pennsylvania, snowfall amounts about 3 to 6 inches. Maybe some heavier amounts there toward Lake Erie. And then again, those very strong winds coming off the lake will be producing those strong lakeshore winds. Maybe some lakeshore flooding there from Lake Erie into far northwestern Pennsylvania. And then you could be talking about some blizzard-like conditions there as well through Friday and on Saturday. Yeah, Toronto's probably there's a very high likely chance. There's a very high chance that Toronto gets a foot of snow at least. Some indications are there could be as much as 2 feet in the worst case scenario. So definitely 1 to 2 feet of snow is possible in Toronto, especially near the lake there near Toronto as well. Oh, you remember 78, don't you? Okay, gotcha. What about Philly? Philadelphia looks like you're going to see probably more likely rain to start. And then, mainly rain from this system. Maybe some snow on the backside. If you do, it's not going to be a lot, maybe up to an inch. Other than that, not a big deal. Cold winds on the backside of the storm, and then temperatures crashing on Friday into the single digits there. And then with wind chills below zero in Philadelphia by Friday night. Yes, lake effect from Lake Ontario. Yeah, crazy. Crazy lake effect snow, that's for sure. That is for sure. So everybody guys, keep hitting that like button down below. We're getting closer to 700 likes, guys. Hit that like button down below. We're getting close to 700 likes on this channel. And again, our goal is to get to 1,000 likes on here, guys. So keep hitting that like button down below. Appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell to get all of the updates here every morning. Again, I do a video every morning at 9 a.m. So you guys can watch that weather forecast every single morning here for the most part at 9 a.m. Floyd says, do you think the higher elevations will get more and more lake effect? Um, the higher elevations of what? You talking about like the Rocky Mountain? There's no lakes. Are you talking about, what are you talking about? Mike says, I was 8 in 78. I lived in Cincinnati. People were able to walk across the Ohio River. A couple crazy. Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah. Was there like a big drought back then or something? Or are you just talking about the snowpack was so strong that you could just walk across the lake or across the river? Yeah, thank you, Davey. Yeah, tune in. Yeah, definitely every morning around 9 a.m. I have great videos in the morning outlining the weather forecast for sure. I break it down for you very well, I think so. Oh, Ontario. Yeah, those higher elevations, there definitely could be some pretty heavy snow. It's going to be pretty heavy snow. Oh, the river froze. Yeah, well, yeah, that's going to happen. I'm sure the temperatures look like this. I'm sure with 50 below wind chills. I'm sure during that period, wasn't it, Mike? Wasn't it like 40 to 50 below wind chills, or was it not that cold back then? Again, I'll just have to go back and look at the analogs for that year. I wasn't for sure. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yep. Sorry guys, I'm just kind of looking at some of the data. New data coming in here to the about the snow. You were 35 and 78, sad to say, but it's not your age, it's your right. You're exactly right. Mike says the snow was crazy deep. You're 8 years old. Wow, okay. Yeah, crazy deep. 8 feet would be, I could not imagine 8 feet of snow, let alone just 2 feet. I mean, could you imagine shoveling or snow blowing 2 feet of snow, let alone 8 feet? Yeah, flash freezes can mess up plants and vegetation and stuff like that. Yes, flash freezes are definitely likely with this. I think ice jams on area creeks, rivers, and streams and stuff like that are going to happen here. Right. Yep, Mike. I definitely. Yeah. It's. I'll have to go. I'll have to look back at that. I'm not sure, but yeah, I'll have to look back. I'm sure it was pretty cold back then, especially if you had all that snow. There's probably a big cold blast like we are seeing now. Okay, 4 or 5 feet. Well, even that, I mean, 4 or 5 feet of snow is still that's a very heavy snowpack. Okay, so you're 8 years old and there's 4 or 5 feet. Yeah, that's still a lot of snow, though. That's like 48 inches of snow. Tom says, I've seen 36 inches of snow on the ground in Parrish, New York in the past. Yeah, that's 3 feet. That's crazy. Floyd says, I've been waiting 33 years. Okay, gotcha. Oh, you remember it well, Kimber, don't you? Yeah, there's a lot of people who remember that. I even remember it, and I wasn't even born then. Not even close. I was born in 2000. I'm 22 right now. So, well, all right, guys. If you guys don't have any more questions on the weather pattern here through the next few days or anything here in between, I will be wrapping up the live stream. Thank you guys so much for joining here this evening. Again, I appreciate everybody asking questions. I appreciate everybody being respectful in the chat. Again, thank you so much. Again, if you guys have not yet liked it, like the live stream on the way out by pressing the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you guys are new; it's free to do, and you get all of my weather forecast updates here on this channel. Hit the notification bell as well to get all the updates on the live streams when I do the live streams and the videos and stuff like that as well. And again, I hope everybody has a great Christmas weekend. Travel safe out there, and I hope everybody has a fun time with the white Christmases out there with all the heavy snow. Just remain safe out there. I know there's a big blizzard on the way, so just make sure you stay safe out there and stay safe from the cold, everyone, especially with this cold traveling south to the Gulf of Mexico. Just be safe out there. Wear plenty of layers outside here. If you have to wear 2 winter coats or 3 winter coats, just do so, guys. It's very cold out there. And again, these 50 below zero wind chills are nothing to laugh at. There's a lot of cold air moving in going into this upcoming weekend. We'll get rid of this and we'll talk about the warmer temperatures toward the end of the month here, and it'll be active as well. Maybe some more snow and some more rain, maybe even some severe weather going into early January across the south. We'll have to wait and see how the weather pattern shakes up there towards that New Year's holiday weekend itself. Have a great night, Floyd says. Thank you for joining. Kimber says, my horse couldn't go through and it took parents 5 hours to go 5 miles. Wow, to a grocery store. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a lot of snow then. There you go. There you go, JCS. Yes, 4 coats. That will work. That's for sure. Eric says, I would be happy to help moderate chat if you want, but so far seems chill enough. You don't, yeah, it's a lot of people on here. You guys are awesome. So thank you guys so much for asking some great questions on here. And again, I appreciate doing these live streams to help answer your questions out there that you have. Like I said, I'll be doing these more often here through, the weeks and months to come. I think I'm going to be doing this about 1 to 2 times a week as well. So if you guys enjoy these, I'll be doing these more often as well. Yeah, snowmobiles on snowmobile. Yeah, snowmobiles are a good way to go, especially with that heavy snowpack. I know a lot of the mountain areas out west, a lot of people have snowmobiles and they like going snowboarding and skiing and stuff like that. And a great time for that here this time of year. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. Again, press the like button on the way out here to help get more of this information out to more people. Hit the subscribe button here. It's free to do to get all the daily updates here. Again, I post a video every morning at 9 a.m. Central Daylight Time, and hit the notification bell to get that video and future live streams on this channel. Thanks, everybody. Have a great holiday weekend, a great and Merry Christmas, and I will see you all very soon. Have a great weekend, everyone.